If you weren't awake yet, holy man, you are awake now. That intro was banging, just like the Illini yesterday were banging against those Maryland Terps. ILL.
I.
Thank you, sir. The Jorge, that's a shout out to you, my friend. Your Maryland Terps could not beat the Illini this year. It seems like every year Maryland has our number in both basketball and football somehow, because I'm waiting to talk shit to Jorge and I can't, and it sucks. And it's like the one game that I expect them just to win, and this year's different.
Hey, at least they got him in football. I think I've been to 3 or 4 straight Illinois home losses to Maryland.
Yeah.
Every like the last couple of years I've gone, every time they play Maryland, they lose. And so many of those games they've been up, and then Maryland just comes back and just puts it to them every time at basketball. So I was at the game yesterday, my son's birthday. Took him to the game. We had great seats. Shout out to Gibson Area Hospital. Hooked me up with some nice tickets for my son's birthday, so we had great seats. Big win for the Illini, getting back on track.
Looks like Jorge said boo to your son's birthday. Jorge, very rude of you to boo his son on his birthday. What a horrendous.
Wow, Jorge.
Please don't get in our chat if you're going to come spewing hate like that. What a inconsiderate.
Bringing all the negative energy.
Man. What a rough way to start the show. Hopefully he doesn't have any start sit questions like the vengeance could come right back. But no, it's week 11, JT. This is the, of course, the Fantasy and Frames pregame show. I'm Nate. He's JT. We answer all your start sit questions you may have, any trade questions. That is one that I expect maybe this week could happen, is as the trade deadline maybe is passed in your league. I know it's going to be close, so there might be some times to make some moves. Andrew's in the chat with this. Good morning. It's kind of make or break. I don't know how you look at trades. Like if your leagues are all in, I unfortunately have found myself in many leagues we've been playing them. This is like year 25 where the trade chatter is just almost dead. People have been burned by each other too many times. They just don't want to.
I feel like the same way when I have a couple long standing home leagues that are redraft, and a couple of them are like 1 or 2 keepers.
Mm-hmm.
And guys have gotten burned. Like you said, they've gotten burned on trades, and now they're just so nervous to lose a trade that nothing happens. So one of my home leagues that's been about 20 years we've been going, we switched it to a 2 keeper where you get to keep the guy in the round you drafted him in. And that's about the only thing that's kept trades moving, is when teams are out of the playoffs, they know they're probably not going to make it. Now, it doesn't happen a lot because this league is real competitive. So it's usually like boom, 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 right on top of each other. But that's the only thing that's safe trading, because no one would trade. The only time people trade now is like, oh, I have a guy that you can keep in like the 15th round.
Yeah,
I'll give you like a clear-cut stud. I'm out of it, but I have Jonathan Taylor, who's going to be a first-round keeper, so I'm going to trade him to you so I can give you a 15th-round keeper next year. That's about the only way we get any trades, because all my other ones are like 15, 20 years plus. Zero trades.
Same.
No one wants to get burned.
Nope, that's exactly right. I feel the exact same way. That the 2 for 2, the make it, the changing of quarterbacks and one wide receiver, because you're trying, and most likely you're trying to get the edge on somebody. You're trying to move that, but I'm glad that you and I share that. It sucks. It's unfortunate, but Andrew does have a question. It's the only question he has for us. It's big. Needs to start 2. Parker Washington, Trey Tucker, Christian Watson. The Brian Thomas could be. I think he's supposed to play today. From what it sounds like, he's returning. Are you still comfortable with Parker Washington as one of the 2?
I think I'm going Parker Washington, Trey Tucker. Now, Trey Tucker, if you look at his stats this year, he's getting really held up by one gigantic game earlier in the year. If you look at his overall points, the only thing is they're playing the Cowboys, who have had literally one of the worst pass defenses in the entire league this year. And now with the trade of Jacoby Myers, even though they brought Tyler Lockett in, I think you play the upside of Parker Washington and Trey Tucker. Personally, now, Christian Watson, more of a home run hitter. If you're in a league, big play, 40-yard catch, 40-yard touchdown gives you like 12 points. I'm in some leagues like that where like big, long touchdowns give you huge points. Then I could see playing Christian Watson. I just don't think he's going to see a lot of action. Even if he gets some catches, it's going to be a couple. I think the upside's with Parker Washington. And also, I'm one of those suckers. I like playing the Monday night guy just in case. Come back. But also, Cowboys defense has been awful against the pass. So I'm going Parker and Trey. Trey Parker? South
Trey.
Trey Parker. I was like, where's Trey Parker from? I'm like, Trey Parker, South Park. There you go.
And I would agree with you. And like Andrew said, he's been scraping by. No one in his league will trade. Been trying to trade Achane for wide receiver 1, and no one will do it, which is crazy to me that no one will trade for quite possibly the second, third best running back in the league. I mean, depending upon obviously your scoring format, but whatever.
I'm in a league. I swear, I think I've been in a league almost 20 years at least. And in one of my leagues, I don't think I've ever seen a trade go down, or maybe one trade ever. In the league, it's a redraft league with a bunch of guys, but like no one trades in my redraft leagues, like almost ever. Like I said, we had to switch it to a keeper league in my home league just to make people get a little bit more action in there late in the season. But I have a question for you real quick.
Uh-huh.
What are your thoughts on trade deadlines? I know a lot of people are like, yes, no. In my redraft leagues, we have a 2-week cutoff. So you kind of got to know you're going for it. And it's like 2 weeks before the playoffs, the trade deadline pops up in my leagues, just so you say, yes, I'm trying, or no, I'm not. But in dynasty leagues and other leagues, are you a trade all the way through guy? Are you a trade up to the first week of the playoffs, and once the playoffs start, no trades? How do you kind of look at that?
I think that you hit the nail on the head. If specifically say dynasty or keeper format in redraft, outside after week 10, 11, I'm fine with the cutoff. Then that just seems to brew weird situations for a team that's been eliminated from the playoffs. And you can't do that. You can't isolate teams that have been completely out of it and say you can't trade. That doesn't create a good environment, but it does create wonkiness that no one's going to want to see, is that the team that's 2-9 trades any significant starter to a team that's 6-5 at that point, unless, like you said, it's a keeper dynasty league where I'm fine with up into the playoffs. I really am. If because there's teams that can benefit. You can that last week, if you're, trade values can skyrocket for a team that's out of it. And I want parity in leagues. I want teams that, want to come back and play next year because they have a reason, not teams that are in last place that have no interest because they had a shit year. They don't want to play again. But if you now throw in and you say, here you go, I'm going to use a bad name, but you can get Caleb Johnson because you think that Caleb Johnson might have a chance next year to be somebody for next to nothing. Maybe that's a bad name to use, but you get the idea of the whole. I guess it's
worth it. I mean, if you get a guy that's going late, somewhere you could hold late. I agree. In my keeper league, we allow trading draft picks too. So sometimes guys will be like, hey, give me this guy and I'll give you like a 4th round pick next year kind of thing. Yeah. Or a 3rd round pick, because you go in and you'll have less draft picks the next year, which we've done. But that's helped my home league at least get to where people aren't completely like, oh, I'm 1-9 and I just quit setting my lineup and I don't care anymore. At least offers up their best players to go, oh, hey, maybe I can get an extra pick or two next season and then have that extra picks early to make my team better, and then I can flip it around pretty quick the next year.
Exactly. Well, let's make Epic Fail's team better, or I'll have you make his team better, because he has an IDP question in Nick Herbig, Montez Sweat. It's a 6-point sack league. Notice how I knew it was Montez Sweat this time, not Josh Sweat. That is, I'm learning. I'm like AI.
That's it. You're on it. You're on it.
I'm on it now. So what do you think? Herbig or Sweat?
I'm leaning Herbig, and this is what I've been telling people to sit him lately because the snap share's gone down, but no Alex Highsmith today.
Correct.
Whenever Alex Highsmith is out for the Steelers, Herbig tears it up. I just literally, before we jumped on air, jumped into 2 of my leagues that I have Highsmith and Herbig, took Highsmith out, put Herbig in, because Herbig tears it up whenever he's not in there. So I'm all over Herbig today.
Likewise, for my limited IDP input this year, I am 100% in agreement. Mr. Scampers says, Yo, good morning and good night. Still kind of, hey, we were just talking before that both JT and myself are, some little early morning get going. So I'm glad you can join us and share in our misery. And
I was celebrating. I was up late celebrating the 5th, 6th grade flag football championship last night. My son, we won on his birthday. Second time in 3 years we won the title. So, had to have a little celebration last night for the victory.
There you go. All right. Bo Nix, Aaron Rodgers. A little tricky. Obviously, Nix against the Chiefs. Nix against anybody has not exactly been wonderful. Let's just say that, Bo Nix had two good weeks fantasy-wise all season. The rest have been, expectation from last year, especially the run towards into the playoffs last year. Aaron Rodgers has played much better than expectations. But do you fade Nix and go with Rodgers for the matchup exclusively, or do you trust in the rushing floor, the upside that Nix possesses?
I'm on Rodgers, especially against the Bengals. The Bengals defense horrible. I mean, this game was a freaking shootout last time. You also got to look at Bo Nix. Now, solid QB, but like you said, fantasy-wise, last 2 weeks, 18 of 37, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. 16 of 28, 150 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. You got to go back 3 weeks against Dallas, which we already talked about, one of the worst pass defenses in the entire league. He throws for 247 and 4 touchdowns. Other than that game and the Cincy game, which we just talked about, one of the also worst pass defenses in the league. He threw for 326 and 2 touchdowns against Cincy. Other than that, 279, 2 touchdowns, 174 a touchdown, 242 a touchdown, 153 a touchdown, 176 a touchdown, and 206 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. The Giants game was supported, really by 48 yards on the ground and 2 scores, which made him the QB1. But I think you're right on. I love the matchup against the Bengals as well. No Trey Hendrickson is the only real threat that I would have said for a person who's not scrambling is, will they have some pass rush? And without Trey, there's no pass rush.
And the Rodgers against Cincy earlier this year at Cincy, now they're at home. 23, 34, 249, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. His best game of the year was against Cincy. Most passing yards, third most attempts, third most completions, most touchdowns all year was against Cincy. So, and at home this time, I'm on Aaron Rodgers today.
And I will say that whenever I'm assuming we'll see some questions in the chat. Maybe there might be one opportunity at, say, a tight end spot. And if that's the case, I'm telling you, Pat Fryermuth will probably be my answer in all of those situations.
I have Muth in a ton of leagues. Shocker, as a Steelers fan. But his point projection this week is really low in a ton of leagues. Yeah. I just ignored every point projection and playing him this week.
Yep.
Cincy, the worst pass defense against tight ends. He crushed them last time they played. If I was in a league where it was like Muth, 8 points, Mason Taylor, 13 on the Thursday night game, I was playing Muth instead. I'm like, no, I'm playing Muth this week.
Now, we all know that means it's going to be a Jonnu Smith week or Darnell
Washington.
I'm
not even going to lie. There is a couple leagues I'm playing both Muth and Jonnu Smith in. I know it's going to be the greatest awesome victory or an epic fail.
Exactly. Someone's got to look at that and be like, what is this guy thinking? But that's okay. All right. You got to start 2 of these and a flex. Good morning, Pokey, by the way. Puka, Waddle, Ladd, Addison, and Cortland Sutton. Oh, man. Puka is always going to be a star. For me, it's Puka, Waddle. The question is going to be a flex between McConkey, Jordan Addison, Cortland Sutton.
I think you're right. I go Puka Waddle. I think that's a guarantee for me. Get that lineup in. You got 10 minutes till this Miami game starts, so set the lineup immediately. Pokey. I'm going Ladd. Ladd is my third guy. I'm putting Ladd in my flex.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I love the the wide receiver room you have, but it's those three right there. Good luck.
You gotta love having Addison and Sutton as your two guys backing up on the bench. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Andrew said, BTJ is not expected to play, so Parker Washington it is. That's good. Last I had not followed up this morning with anything else on BTJ, so thank you for the update.
I haven't seen anything yet official, so hopefully maybe that just came out, but I've been keeping an eye on that huge because I've got BTJ all over the place, and I got a ton of Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance. What am I talking about? Trevor, like I said, it's early morning, guys. I'm getting the eyes over here. Trevor Lawrence. I'm actually sitting Trevor Lawrence in a ton of spots. If you're out there and you're wanting Trevor Lawrence or Tua, I'm putting in Tua this morning. I'm playing Tua against the Commanders over Trevor Lawrence today. And I have that in about 8-10 leagues that I've got to pick between them two. I'm going Tua over Lawrence.
I have a ton of Parker
Especially
Washington.
BTJ's out. Especially if BTJ's not playing. And it's basically just Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers is thrown to.
Exactly. And so Parker Washington on plenty of my teams. Last week, by the way, also if you're in a league where you do get any type of special teams, punt return, kick return, Parker Washington still in that role. One of the best punt returners in the league. And you can benefit that way. I don't ever plan my team based around punt and kick return opportunities only for a touchdown. If it was yardage, completely different, but that's not a smart investment.
If you're in a dynasty league, I've made this move a couple times this week. I traded Parker Washington for like a late third or mid fourth round pick in a bunch of dynasty leagues where I was like, I could use one more wide receiver because I have BTJ in a bunch of leagues. I was like, I'm going to pick him up just in case BTJ doesn't play. I can get some spots. So not a bad move. If somebody out there unexpectedly in your league is not going to make the playoffs and has Parker Washington, go offer like a mid-round rookie pick for him because he could help you down the stretch.
Absolutely. Epic Fail says, congrats on your son's championship. And in honor of his congratulations, we'll answer his question, which is in PPR, he has to choose between Debo, Chase Brown, or Rachaad White. All three, realistically, I can see the upside and I can see the downside. I want to say Debo just because without McLaurin, I have to believe that Mariota is going to hyper target Debo and get him involved. And while I do like Rachaad White I was talking about him on Wednesday night on the Fourth and Frame show, that I just see a path to Rachaad White being heavily involved this week. I get the Sean Tucker love as of his recently more involved role in that offense. What do you think?
I'm playing Chase Brown. I'm going with the consistency of Chase Brown. I like Debo. Debo's been so hit and miss this year. He's been a hard one to go. I have to be honest, I just cannot talk about Rachaad White because I've been a Rachaad White hater forever, and I like Sean Tucker a ton. So I can't. I have the blinders on. I love Sean Tucker, and I don't think Rachaad White's very good. Now, probably Rachaad White's a decent play this week without Bucky again, but I just don't like Rachaad White. I think he's super inefficient. I'm a Syracuse guy. I love Sean Tucker. So I don't want to tell people because I'm going to tell everyone play Sean Tucker or Rachaad White, even though it's a bad, probably fantasy.
Probably
it's bad to tell people that fantasy wise, but I just like Sean Tucker so much more personally. So I don't think I should be putting my input on that, but I say Chase Brown on this one. I just think consistency wise, Vidal, I was all against playing Vidal last week against the Steelers, and he went off and had a great game. So I'm not fading that again. I'm going Chase Brown. And what I'm guessing is should be a high scoring game, and was a super high scoring game last time these two teams played earlier this year.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh without, like you mentioned earlier, no Alex Highsmith, no Darius Slay, no. How long has Cole Holcomb been out? Is that a recent?
He is back. He has just been playing like very minimum reps, kind of working him back in because of that horrible knee injury he had. So he's back. He just has been working in a very limited role. And Patrick Queen, if you saw the Shoot the Gap show with me and Jorge earlier this week, we talked about Patrick Queen. The dude has 5 solo tackles in the last 5 games. It's brutal. He saved you last week on assists. He got like 10 assists to save your day, but he has not been good. I wouldn't be surprised if Holcomb works his way in a little bit more because Patrick Queen has not been good this year.
Well, I thought they ruled, from what I saw, they ruled Cole Holcomb out this week.
Okay, he might be. Yeah, I know he's been slowly working his way back into the lineup because of that knee injury. It's not, I don't think, totally healed. And I would not be surprised if he had a flare up and they're like, ooh, we need to sit you this week. Because he has been playing limited because of that knee, which was a pretty gruesome injury.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was kind of wondering, if he has been back. And I know his presence would be more helpful for the Steelers as a whole, but not when it's a half. And then if he's on one bum leg, that's not a whole Holcomb, I guess, is the way to phrase that. It's a rough morning, everyone. I apologize. Scampers also says, congrats to your son. Andrew mentioned he's playing Purdy over Knicks this week. I don't blame you one bit there. Charlene's in the chat. Good morning, Charlene. Great to see you as always. And Michael has a question. All right. So I think it says he's 3-7. Needs 3 wide receivers, 1 flex. Needs to win out. So with this knowledge, do you trade Tajay Spears for Khalil Shakir? His wide receivers right now are Zay Flowers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Ricky Pearsall, Elick Eilmanner, Parker Washington, and Luther Burden. The running backs are Derrick Henry, Chase Brown, Tyler Warren, Spears, Algiers, and Singletary.
Jalen Warren.
What'd I say?
You said Tyler Warren. Tight end. Jalen Warren, but yes. We know what you're talking about. We know what you mean.
I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. And I knew exactly what I was supposed to say, but my brain immediately goes to the,
like I said, we're a little slow this morning, people. That's all right. We're working into it. We're getting the cobwebs out here early in the morning.
I also trying to digest everything. It's definitely so. Here's the question with that: do you think that trading Tajay Spears for Khalil Shakir puts him at an advantage to, or at least to win out? And is that an upgrade?
I'm probably making that move with your wideouts because you're playing Henry, you're playing Chase Brown, and probably playing Warren pretty consistently. Spears, he's been better, but looking at that wide receiver core, I mean, I'm playing Flowers, Harrison. Obviously, Harrison out this week, so that hurts you. I love Burden, but just right now hasn't been getting enough work. Hopefully, that goes up. For Saul, again, been hurt. Can't be able to count on him. I like Parker Washington this week. I make that trade today. I would make that trade today, and then I would play Flowers, Shakur, and Parker Washington. Would be the 3 guys I would play, and then play the running back. So I would make that move.
There you go. So Charlene has a question as well, which is she needs wide receiver and a flex. So start with the wide receiver spot. Romeo Doubs, Trey Tucker, Cortland Sutton, Tez Johnson, or Quentin Johnston. I got to admit, while we were talking earlier about Trey Tucker, I want to say that he's one that I want to put. I just want to exploit that matchup. And I don't care how many, like the pieces are pretty limited on who can exploit and really be a beneficiary from that. But would you start him over? Because it's got to be over somebody, because there's going to need 3 spots out of there. Go ahead with one of yours.
Dubs had a down week last week, but I think the passing game has a resurgence for the Packers against the Giants this week. Mm-hmm. I'm probably going him at my wideout. And honestly, I like Sutton, but we talked about it with Knicks. I don't see a huge upside in playing him this week. Tez, you're just hoping that he ends up being the guy he throws to. I'm playing Dubs, and then I'm a coin flip between QJ and Tucker. To me, it's really close. I might just go Tucker just because the Monday night matchup against the Cowboys has a chance to be 2 pretty bad defenses that could end up being a legit shootout. So I'm probably going Dubs and Tucker, but it's a close one between Tucker and QJ for me as the second guy.
Then there's your flex is because it needs, sorry. My apologies. I was reading the one, so it is just 1-on-1. So I'm right there with you then. All right, let's lock that in, Charlene. Good luck. Scamper says good morning to you, Charlene. AG says, "Sup, fellas, been MIA for a while since fantasy basketball started. What a shit show of injuries, but we back. I get it. Hopefully your fantasy basketball is doing well. I got back in it this year, started paying attention a little more to basketball, and I will say the last couple spots of a blend of VJ Edgecombe and some others has really helped me out so far. It's still early. Fantasy hockey doing well too. In case you guys didn't know, we do have fantasy hockey here at Fantasy and Frames. JT here is one of the leaders of the pack, I would say, when it comes to getting that started. I'm good at hockey for a minute, and then I just fall off because I forget. There's a couple weeks or a couple days where I don't put someone in, but I've had well, you know that you're in our league. You joined it.
Yeah, it happens. Like I got to run through there. I try to, if I can remember, I try to on Tuesday go through, set my whole life for the whole week plus the Monday the next week. Because usually I'll forget on Mondays. Monday's my day off, plus hanging out all day Sunday, whatever happens Monday. I tend to sleep like all day on Monday, my day off, because I sleep like 4 hours a night, and I sleep like 10 hours in one day. It's a weird schedule. It sucks, but it's the way it happens with me. So I always end up setting my lineup for like that week in advance with Monday night, just in case I don't forget to look, so that I can jump in Tuesday. But yes, Fantasy in Frames, Around the Ice, hockey podcast every Tuesday night, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central here on Fantasy and Frames, Around the Ice. We talk betting, we talk general hockey, we talk fantasy hockey. We got a little bit mixed everything. We talk redraft, we talk dynasty. We got a little bit of everything for you. So get into that. And this is the first time I haven't played fantasy basketball in like a decade. Like, we had a bunch of guys kind of get in and out of the league, and some people moved. A lot of people weren't paying a ton of attention last year. And so one of the guys that I kind of pushed the reins off to, because I'm running way too many leagues, I was like, hey, you want to run the basketball league this year? He's like, do we want to run the league this year? He's like, most of us did start our lineups like near the end of the year last year. So I'm out of fantasy basketball for the first time in forever. Basketball and baseball I didn't play this year for the first time in forever. But now I'm up to like 4 hockey leagues and then my 60 plus NFL and college. I've dropped those, but then I picked up a couple more hockey leagues and a bunch of college leagues. I'm getting a bunch of college football leagues on Fantrax. I think I joined like 5 extra this last year, so that probably helps me that I'm not doing basketball, having another thing to have to try to look up.
Yeah, it's degenerate alert is what should be going across the screen, but instead
I was laughing. There's like
campers.
My girlfriend sent me something on Facebook the other day, and it was like this guy like talking about his like getting done with golf and then starting all his football leagues, and she's like, "But I thought we were going to go outside." He's like, "Oh no, I got Dynasty on Saturday, I got Keeper League on Sunday, I got it." And my girlfriend said to me, not laughing, like I feel like this is the conversation we have every football season. I'm like, and he's like, "9." She's like, "How many leagues are you in?" He's like, 9. She's like, she sends me 9, ha ha ha, with a bunch of question marks, because I'm in like 60, and she's like, this chick's mad about 9.
Exactly. Depends on how you portion them out and how much time you need for each one. But all right, half point PPR: David Montgomery, Kyle Monangai, Deebo Samuel, Aronde Gadsden Jr. Like I said earlier, my take on the whole Deebo matchup this week is that I have him higher than most, just because, like I said, I can see a path to him of the 4 easily being the most stable, but it's also hard to ever go against the potential shootout that's in Detroit and Philly. And you know that a high scoring game, if you get an implied point total for the Lions of 24 plus, Montgomery is going to have a piece of that. So I'm between Montgomery and Deebo.
Yeah, and I would make a decision right now. Game starting. I don't know if it's locked yet here with the morning. So Deebo's going now. So hopefully you had Deebo or Monty in your spot, because the game is going. I'm probably leaning Monty, but I would go Monty or Deebo. I love Gadsden, but if it's not a tight end premium league, I play those other guys. And I like Monangai, but Swift should be in the mix too. So if he was 100% Monangai, I'd be like, oh, play him. But with Swift there, I think you're going to get a mix. So I would go Monty or Deebo. Half PPR, I'm probably leaning Monty.
Yep. And you might not have a choice anyway. So There's
Like
Montgomery.
I said, sorry about that. I just looked down and realized the kickoff was coming, and I'm like, oh, they probably have blocked that. So our bad. Sorry about that.
And also, of course, Epic Fail 10 minutes ago had a question, Debo or Dunze in PPR. All right, guys, I promise I'm sorry. Now that game's over, so no, I don't have to worry about trying to speed through to make sure we get the locks in. I should have done that. My apologies to all. I should have hyper-focused on any matchups that happen to have that. But to be fair, I forgot that there was even a game. And I forgot there was a game this morning, but didn't make sure to pay extra attention for anybody with those questions in their lineup. But Patrick has a trade question. It's a 12 teams PPR. He has one flex. He's 5-5 right now, so right on the cusp. He can trade Amari DiMercato, DeAndre Swift, Rondé Gatson for Tyler Warren and Amari and Hampton. So his other running backs right now are Kyron, Henderson, Mason, Tootin. He'd need to flex Loveland or Knox this week, but have 78% to win right now, all or nothing. I mean, I don't have a problem flexing either Loveland or Knox. Knox, I think, is going to have a good week especially without Kincaid. Solid floor. But would you trade? I mean, really, I don't have a problem getting rid. DiMercato doesn't move the needle for me.
I actually like that trade. Even if you're going to win, this is actually like a future trade, but actually making you better now. I love Rondé Gatson. Gatson's one of my favorite guys, but Tyler Warren is. You got to take Tyler Warren in that, and then Hampton's going to come back. Plus, if you just said in a vacuum, Hampton for Swift and DiMercato. It's Hampton. It's Hampton clearly. Right. So I think you absolutely make that trade. If you can make that trade, I would do it immediately.
Yeah, no, right there with you. Good. All right. Michael's question at a quarterback spot. Caleb Williams, Matthew Stafford. The only question I had, with some of these is 4-point versus 6-point passing touchdown. I know it probably shouldn't matter with Caleb Williams because it's not like Caleb is, running all over the place every game. Now he has the last 2 weeks. I mean, you see some sprinkling in the middle, from week 3 to week 7 where he didn't have more than 13 yards rushing, but week 1 against Minnesota, 58. The past 2 weeks against Cincinnati and the Giants, he has a combined 116 yards and a touchdown. So I probably lean, but it's against Minnesota. Caleb Williams against that blitz that might be my only concern that makes me lean Stafford from like a safe floor. But I think the rushing upside alone makes me want to lean Caleb Williams. But JT?
In full transparency, I cannot figure out Caleb Williams this year. I've got him on quite a few teams. If I play him, he's terrible. If I sit him, I lose the week, and I would have won the week if I would have played him. I cannot figure him out this year. Literally, every time I'm like, oh, this is a good week, I'm going to play him. I'm going to sit Darnold. I'm going to sit Stafford. I'm going to play Caleb Williams. He has a terrible week, and I'm like, I just lost because I played him. And then I'll sit him the next week and be like, okay, no, I'm out. I'm going to put the other guy in. Then he goes off for a huge game, and Dak scores me 5. And I'm like, God, if I just played Caleb Williams, I would have won. So I've been terrible about Caleb Williams this year. So I've gotten to the point this year when I have Stafford in a league, I just play Stafford. Just for the floor. I know I'm probably not going to get a monster game. He's had a couple big games. He's going to have a decent game. I pretty much have just been playing Stafford because I can't figure out Caleb Williams, to be honest with you. I just don't know. And I absolutely could see him having a huge game tonight. But I also could see him like getting blitzed like crazy and just chucking the ball all around and taking sacks. So I feel bad, and I'm sorry, Michael. I'm horrible with this question. I'm going Stafford just because I can't figure out Caleb Williams.
If there's any promising matchup numbers, is that both the Seahawks and the Vikings to opposing quarterbacks have allowed 16.62 and 16.63 fantasy points allowed to the quarterback position. So if it averages based on how the defense has allowed quarterbacks to score, it shouldn't matter. You should get damn near the exact points. I know that's not how this game works, but for all intents and purposes, I don't think you can ever go wrong with leaning Stafford for safety. As much as I get burned by Caleb Williams like you do, well, we'll have to live and learn each week that we don't know what we're doing when it comes to the quarterback position. Kind of like when you're drafting the quarterbacks in the NFL, no one really has a clue. All right, Charlie needs 2 wide receivers in a flex this time. Addison, Trey Tucker, DeMarcado, Tez, Jordan Addison, Troy Franklin, Jacoby Myers. Start with the 2 wide receiver spot first. And boy, Troy Franklin really has taken over that number 1 role in Denver. But I hate the matchup. But at the same time, Sutton has been the one that's really been the thorn in the side to the Chiefs when they've played. But that's been prior to the Troy Franklin emergence. So, boy, everybody's right in that same. My ranking wise, they're all right there.
I know it feels very pretty even with all these guys.
Let's go. Let's find one guaranteed that we both agree on.
I'm going Addison for sure in this group.
Yep.
I'm playing Addison.
Same here. That's
we talked about Trey Tucker. I kind of feel like you got to go Trey Tucker, just the matchup with the Cowboys, how bad they've been. And the Raiders' offense has to be better than they were last week. I mean, you went from probably the best pass defense in the league with the Broncos/Texans. Broncos last week, and now you're going one of the worst in the Cowboys. I think Trey Tucker a little bit upside. After that, I don't love any of the rest of these matchups. I'm probably going Troy Franklin just because he's been hotter, even though I don't like that matchup at all. I just don't know with Tez and Jacoby and DeMarcado. Those guys, I mean, you're really taking a shot there with Jacoby could have a good game. The matchup's not bad, but he's on a new team. That always worries me, like how quickly you're picking things up. You know, you got a new quarterback. I would probably lean Troy Franklin just for the upside, hoping he gets a touchdown, maybe. I don't think he has a big game. I'll just say that right now. I don't think he has a big game at all, but I think his upside of maybe he's the guy that gets the touchdown. Or, you know, I think I would lean that. So for me, I'm going Addison, Trey, Franklin. Those are my 3.
Yeah, I'm right there with you too. Franklin he's averaging 9 targets over the last month. So the volume is there as far as targets.
He is week to week being completely underprojected on most sites. I will just tell people that. Like, if you have Troy Franklin on your team and you're looking at weekly projections when you're putting guys in, I feel like he's criminally underprojected every week in almost every format. It's like he's projected 6 to 8, 8.5 points in a lot of formats. You're like, he's been getting way more than that in almost every week, and that's what he's getting projected every week. It's kind of wild to me.
And we'll see. You know, each week if there was one area, and we usually try to get this portion in at the end of the show where we look at matchups and we look at week to week of what could be important to pay attention to. And I don't think Marvin Mims returning this week has any effect on any of the other receivers, but yes, it's another mouth to feed. It's not a big mouth to feed. He has not needed much in terms of volume. And when against the Chiefs, expectation with all the amount of injuries that they have on the defensive side of the ball is if they do get down, they'll pass more, especially maybe without J.K. Dobbins, which does mean I guess we can get through some of these questions and we can actually address some of the player news and injuries of who's out. But Michael, thank you for the kind words. Thanks. Really enjoyed listening to us. And as you said, please hit the like, subscribe, et cetera, et cetera. You help me keep up the good work. We will do our best, you know, and Glitch does say, my fault for mentioning basketball. Sorry, everyone. He's a degenerate. We're all degenerates.
Hey, we are. And then right before that, he said, sign try hockey. Yes, get in that hockey. Hey, next year we have our Around the Ice Listeners League. Send us a message. Get on the list. We'll put you in the league next year. So Listeners League, we run are already underway, but jump in there. Definitely try training hockey. And I'm in Illinois. I'm a Red Wings fan, but I've got a soft spot for the Blackhawks because all my friends are Blackhawks fans. The Blackhawks are getting pretty exciting, and earlier than we thought it would be. We're like, this is like going to be a 5-6 year rebuild. They've sucked the last couple of years, but man, they are looking good. Connor Bedard, sorry for the hockey talk people. Connor Bedard, if you have not seen him play, wow. He was awesome last year as a 17, 18-year-old rookie. He looks amazing this year. I think he's either first or second in the league in scoring right now. So do yourself a favor. Get into hockey. Hockey is awesome. Right now, my second favorite sport behind football.
There you go. All right. So we got to start one morning, KJ. Start one running back and one flex. Before I mentioned RJ Harvey without J.K. Dobbins against the Chiefs, Kamani Vidal or Christian Watson. It is a full point PPR. I'm starting. Oh, I might just go Harvey and Vidal. Seems to be the safe and easy play. As much as you talked earlier, and I think it's correct. If you if you take our advice and you sit Christian Watson, fully expect the 45-yard bomb that's going to fall into his hands. You're going to watch it and you're going to curse this show, as you should, rightfully, and it's bound to happen. But if you start him, he's dropping that pass. Just know that. Whatever you do,
it's going to go one way or the other.
Hands.
You know what happens.
It will. He knows.
I don't want to wait for that. I don't want to even think about it. I'm starting Harvey and Vidal.
Exactly. 4K comes in and actually has a good point. He does. Weather's looking bad for the Bills game. Needs to start 2 between Rashee Rice, Emeka Egbuka, Chase Brown, and Quinshon Judkins. And then also don't know who start between Theo Johnson and Cade Otton. Let's start with the tight end question first, because I think both of those 2 tight ends are ones that I actually have relatively high. I've moved both of them up. Darius Slayton's out this week. And with Jameis at the helm, I just want to have a piece of that matchup, just to be able to have the Jameis Winston effect as far as what that could mean. It might mean nothing, but I have Cade Otton higher. What about you, JT?
Exact same. I'm playing Otton in most of my leagues that I have Otton and Johnson, but you do kind of want to have a little piece of the Giants today just for Jameis. Just for the Jameis love. You want to have it. So I can see playing either guy. I have him right next to my rankings as well. I have Otton just a hair higher, but I wouldn't fault you at all for playing Theo and rooting for Jameis to have a 400-yard, 4-touchdown, 4-interception game, because it could happen. On the other side,
real quick shout out. My wife just brought me coffee, and so I know she's not listening because she's standing right over there. But yeah, everybody needs a carry in their life, and so thank you, honey. And go ahead. Whether looking bad for the Bills game,
you're a lucky man. That's fantastic. My girlfriend's like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Oh, I got the podcast." She's like, "Oh, well, come back and check me in a little bit." I'm like, "It's a 3-hour podcast." She's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Just like have a sleep." She's like, "What are you doing? You're doing 3-hour podcasts?" I'm like, "This is like the 3rd or 4th week in a row." But okay, that's how much she pays attention to me. She's like, "Oh, yeah,
this has been 4 years."
Yeah. So man, it's tough to sit Rashee or Egbuka. It's so tough.
I know.
I like Chase a ton. I feel like I can't sit Chase Brown. I just can't. But man, that's a tough call. I'm probably, then this is gonna burn me because you're gonna come back and yell at me later. But I'm probably gonna go Egbuka, Chase Brown. I know the weather isn't great. If I want 2 quarterbacks to play in weather and think it's not going to affect them as much as other people, it's probably Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield. I feel like those guys can play in anything because they just don't care. Like those guys, I just think they're like, oh, this is just another reason to play my ass off. So I just feel like those guys can ball out no matter what. So I'm probably leaning Egbuka and Chase Brown just a hair, but only, and I will say this, only because Rashee Rice is going against the Broncos. That pass defense has been phenomenal. I think that's a possibly grinded out, low scoring game. I just don't love any of the guys for fantasy in that matchup, just because I think it's going to be a really, I think it's going to be a really close, low scoring possession type of game. What do you think as a Chiefs fan? Are you going? Can you just in your mind ever sit Rashee Rice right now, or you got to play him?
I would say, and I know it's not the matchup that you would focus on, is Pat Surtain and Rashee Rice, but just the loss of Pat Surtain with him not playing and being on the field gives me elevated even floor for Rashee Rice. And his floor with Pat Surtain would have been behind Chase Brown. Probably I could have made the case for Judkins, Chase Brown, and Egbuka in a low scoring contest in Kansas City and the Broncos. But I will say that I am leaning, I would go Rashee Rice and Egbuka. The thing is I don't think that you're really looking too far separate from any of the options. I think they all have relatively similar floors, and I think their ceilings all are similar in the same regards as that. no one's a true standout. Like absolutely, he's gonna just completely smash the others, and you're an idiot if you don't play that person. It's a great problem to have, in my opinion. I think that it's probably one of my, I would love to be in your situation. Mine never quite has that same look to it. I don't get to choose between them. I'm starting between Parker Washington and having to start both Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth for
exactly. I have leagues. I look through some of my lineups, and I'm a tight end guy, so I end up with a lot of tight ends, especially in premium and tight end premium leagues. I have a couple leagues I'm starting legit 3 and 4 tight ends, which seems insane, but I really am, because I have a lot of leagues where my wide receivers are banged up or are not good, or what's killing me this week, Colts on bye. I have a ton of Pittman, Downs, and Alec Pierce. So I have a ton of those 3 guys. So there's a ton of leagues I'm having to sit all those guys, and I'm having to find tight ends to play instead of them, because again, it's like, oh, do I want to play, Theo Johnson, or am I playing like Greg Dortch, or you know what I mean? Like somebody way down the line. I'm like, I was like, probably playing the tight end.
And the tight ends.
I do think, now you guys talk about it more, I do think you're right. Even with the matchup, I think you almost have to play Rice with the way he's playing. You're probably right. It probably is Rice, Abuka, Otten, just slightly over Chase Brown and Theo Johnson.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. Good morning, Jamie. Your tight end call, I can tell you, I like, especially like this league, the Kings Classic League, where you have 14 teams and 3 flex spots. Yeah. Losing the Saints. Juwan Johnson's on all my teams in that, because and when you have 3 flexes, you're going for people who are just going to get you 7 to 8 points, 6 to 8 points, really. And tight ends seem to fill that for sure. What Jamie says, he stopped watching hockey when Gordon Bombay stopped coaching the Ducks. And I hear you. I think that was a turning point in many of our lives. It definitely, I was old enough to like watch it and probably be able to want to get the first Anaheim Ducks jersey when they started doing that. And I can tell you, it was probably the most popular jersey, I think, to see outside of hockey arenas. Like, you don't see people typically wearing hockey sweaters. And see, I use the word sweater there because as a hockey fan, I know the lingo.
You're a hockey fan. Because you're a real hockey fan. That's why.
Yeah. I was a season ticket holder for the Blues for like 17 years until 2018. And then, of course, I stopped. And if we all remember what 2019 did, they won the Stanley Cup for the first time. And
I think it is 100% because of you.
Yep.
I think because you stopped having season tickets, you're the one that did it. You gave it up for the team so the team could win it all. I think you need more credit, to be honest with you.
I agree. I feel like the martyr for most of St. Louis, and I think they would all agree here that I'm looking around. I don't know where it's at. I have a brick that Carrie and I got for the stadium, so I always harken back to that it's because of me. But Moggs is in the chat this morning. He's late, but like a lat. He says, "What's up? What's good, fellas? Man, I can't talk this morning. I finally getting some coffee, so hopefully by about the 9:30 time, I'll be able to answer some of these questions and not just be a piece of shit." Scampers does shout out Carrie, of course. Charlene has me a Carrie, but he's currently in Santiago. Yeah, Charlene, you were a very lucky, fortunate one as well.
Hey, Glitch jumps in here and says, "Hey, it's 2025 and we still get to watch Flacco and Jameis." He's like, "We're blessed football." I mean, if you would have imagined that both these guys would be starting today, like a couple years ago, you'd be like, "There's no way those guys are still in the league at this point." But they are. They are. This Jameis thing is going to be. I feel like the anticipation is through the roof. Yeah, and I feel like it could crash and burn real easy, but like just the excitement level of what if Jameis comes out and just starts unleashing and he throws for like 403 or 4 touchdowns, like the fantasy world is going to lose their mind. I have to tell you, I was ecstatic when I found out they were going to start him over Russell Wilson, even though it screwed me in a couple leagues because I don't have Jameis, but I have Russell, and I was going to use this as my second flex QB. I'm like, oh, this is way more exciting. No one's excited to see Russell Wilson play for the Giants. Everyone is pumped to see Jameis Winston today. I love it.
And no one would be. I mean, even if you weren't excited for Russ, double down on the fact that there's nobody on that team that can catch passes from him necessarily that you would be excited like to support him even more. You don't need it with Jameis. It doesn't matter. He's chucking it to ushers down the field. He doesn't mind. He's probably going to throw a couple to the other team as well. The Packers, I'm sure, will have a couple picks. But like you said, give me 414, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I'm sure Giants lost, but no one cares about wins and losses. We're talking about, I would like to see him win because not that I like to see him do the eating W's thing. Not like I'm fascinated by it, but he's the most exciting. He's such a, I don't know. I think he's a likable person that I really root for because he seems to be team first and everything. Just a good, I don't know, ambassador to the game. Speaking of him, I was going to say, speaking of ambassadors, I just was speaking of
Ambassador Dave. He is. He's
you put the ass in ambassador for sure, Dave. Good morning.
Cheers, guys. What's going on?
Not too much. Starting off with a little Jameis Winston talk. What's all right? Over 325 yards passing.
Oh, come on. Let's make it through the roof. It's going to be over. There'll be sprinkle a few little interceptions in there, but it'll be fine. That's the one thing starting Jameis Winston. You look at your score and there's 3 interceptions and you're negative 6 points. You're like, I'm not worried. It's going to end up.
I'm not worried. Exactly. I think
anybody knows how to chalk up garbage time fantasy points is Jameis Winston, dude. I mean, just the king of a guy you're looking at. You're like, oh, he's done nothing for me. And you're like, just wait till that fourth quarter. He's going to pump in another 150 yards on a TD easily to finish it off for you.
It's a shame. I feel like he's a guy who, if he was a little bit more accurate, could have had a really good career. But yeah, it was good for a while. It was good for a minute.
It was as fun of a run as you can have. JT, I have a question. Jamie has a question for you from an IDP standpoint. Jonathan Cooper, Kenneth Murray. Give me just 1 second, boys.
That one's a toughie. Man, I like Cooper a lot. He's usually a guy I want to play. It's always tough going against the Chiefs. They don't give up a lot of sacks. Kenneth Murray, that's been frustrating. Let me look up something real quick on that one. Let me see the snaps for Murray last week where he's at, because it's been a little bit iffy for that team. I don't know. I'm probably leaning Cooper though. But again, you're hoping on a sack there because he doesn't have a high tackle floor for you. So that's the only problem with that. But I do like Cooper, really good pressure rate. He's been out there consistently. It's just this week is a tough matchup with the Chiefs.
This Washington game's not looking too great, is it?
So far, we got 3-0 with the Commanders driving.
It looks like they're on their.
I could be slightly behind, though. I
don't even have it on again. My Sunday morning 8 a.m. shows never happen because I have a commitment to you guys, and I hate it because I really like watching the games. But when I get to see people like Jay in the chat saying "Morning, guys," makes it all better. As with everybody. Scampers is asking Santiago, like the chili? Yes, is your husband. And she means Santiago Chile for you geographically delinquent. You missed earlier, Dave. We were talking that Carrie brought me a coffee mid-show. She's probably tuned in, said, what is this idiot rambling about? He needs some caffeine. And so she brought me some. Now, I didn't get a Hello Kitty mug. To deal with it. And Charlene has her own Carrie. She said, are those brass knuckles on the edge of the? That's hardcore.
It is. It really is.
That's gangster.
It's my daughter's Hello Kitty mug.
That is wild. A Hello Kitty mug with the brass knuckles attached. That's phenomenal.
I like your Hello Kitty mug, Dave. You're like, oh yeah, bam. How you like a broken nose? And then we do endorse fighting around here.
In case you're ever having you're having a coffee and there's some gangsters rocking up on you. You got brass knuckles to help you out.
See, always.
That's
always
smart because you
ready.
smash the coffee mug on their head, and then you have the brass knuckles to start punching them afterwards.
Oh yeah,
Genius.
Burning hot coffee in their face. I can see that playing out pretty well, actually. Like I think we've probably seen that about 100 times in movies, and but the added element of the Hello Kitty and the brass knuckles, next level for sure. Moggs has a Superflex full PPR tight end premium question. JT, this has you written all over it. Tight end premium. You don't even need to see the names. I'll just say Kate Otten, and you'll just say yes.
Otten has definitely got to be in there, and tight end premium for sure. D Hop has been just brutal. He could easily go for 0 as he could for points. Mooney, I like Darnell Mooney. They came out, they had a broken collarbone during camp, though they didn't tell anybody, which completely makes sense of why he's absolutely been terrible this year.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood would probably be my next one. Coker is still a mess. Bryce Young, you never know what you're getting there. I'm Otten all the way. Hollywood would be my second guy behind Otten.
I'm right there with you. To elaborate on the Jameis Winston, as Scamper says, Blake Bortles walked so Jameis Winston could run. Yes, the first king of garbage time, Blake Bortles, seeded the way, made the path, cleared the path for Jameis Winston. But, jump back up and actually makes a good point in Glitch wants there's fourth quarter Jameis or fourth quarter Caleb Williams, who's, as of late. So we've had some years pass since we've got the fourth quarter Jameis blow up. We have the recency bias of fourth quarter Caleb Williams, which has been just otherworldly. What do you guys think, Caleb? Or I'm always going to go Jameis until proven otherwise, and maybe we'll see what that is.
It's hard not to love fantasy football Jameis, right? Fantasy football Jameis is a legend, so it's hard not to love him. In real life, probably Caleb, but fantasy wise, definitely Jameis.
Oh, all these questions are fantasy related. We don't care about real life football, JT.
Real life football, does that even matter? No one cares.
No, if we were talking real life football, you think it would be a group of people of Tennessee Titans fans, Steelers fans, and Chiefs fans all getting together to talk ball? No way. Everybody would think I have some superiority complex and I wouldn't be able to converse, but I'll have I can chop it up with fans of all teams that may or may not be good and some that will be good. Like Kyle, good morning. Hopefully your Titans are on the up and up.
Well, do we even want them to win at this point?
No, we do not. We do not. We want them to take someone like who is Ruben Bain, one of those guys that skill set player that which is unfair to call, elite rushers, non-skill players, but you get the point.
And is this even for fantasy, we always talk about the 2027 draft.
Right.
So is this even a good year for the Titans to say we have the number 1 pick?
Draft analysis for me, I'm a huge draft guy. This year is going to be a defensive draft. Like all the studs that everybody's going to want are going to be defensive ends. There's actually a good linebacker group this year, some really good DBs. This is going to be a couple years ago where we had just a couple guys go offensive wise for fantasy wise in the first round. I think it's going to be a heavy defensive first round. There's going to be some good fantasy players out there. You're just going to see a lot of guys like second, third round guys that go for fantasy reasons. I'm hoping for the Titans they take Bain because I got a bet on Bain being the number 1 overall pick. And I was hoping it would be because I was hoping the Titans would get the pick and they would go defense. So that's where I'm sitting. So my money's on that. But I for the Titans, because they did go QB last year, this is a perfect year for them to be at the top because also they could trade out. This is like a Bears scenario a couple years ago. I was like, we could trade out of that spot and get a couple more picks because we want one of these 3 defensive players anyway. We'll slide back a little bit. So if I'm a Titans fan, I'm actually kind of fired up about it because we got Cam Ward last year that they can go the opposite route. It really opens things up where they don't have to necessarily go QB, which I think is probably a good spot for them because who else do we look at the top there? Saints, Browns, Jets. Teams are desperate for QB, and the question is, are they going to succumb to the fans bitching and moaning and take one, even though they shouldn't as high as there? Or are they going to be like, no, let's play it smart. We're going to suck next year too. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go and get a great defensive player or O lineman. What GMs are going to do it? This is what we're going to end up seeing is like who at that top is going to have the balls to be like, nah, I'm not spending this draft capital on a subpar QB.
Exactly. Quick run through the chat. Glitch said, if his Bears win and the Packers lose to Jameis, going to jail for disorderly conduct, that's the type of degenerate and delinquency that
I love it. Every one of my friends are on every over Jameis bet today just for this reason. They're like, they're rooting so hard for Jameis and the Giants because they just love to see the Packers lose to Jameis. So every one of my friends in the group chat this morning were like, Jameis overs, taking the Giants. We want to see them upset the Bears because they're all Bears fans. So they want to see the Packers go down.
I took the passing attempts on Jameis Winston over. I think it was like 34.5. He's just going to sling the rock.
I like that bet.
Absolutely. When Dave gets back, Charlie, and I'll have him make sure we'll talk him into trying to send that to you. Oh, speak of the devil. What do you know? Dave, welcome back. Sorry, you came back if you ever re-enter the chat or enter the show and there's a chat bar up, whatever it says you have to do. I don't make the rules, but it says, Dave, I need that mug. Charlene, send Dave your address. Probably don't do that, but send it to somebody else and we'll have Dave send it to a proxy and then he'll send it over.
I got it from the Hello Kitty Cafe in Orange County.
Well, I was like, is Dave sending it from Hawaii this year?
I have two daughters.
Where is Dave going to have to ship that
from?
I don't think she's that far away from Orange County, so you could probably make the trip over there.
Yeah.
My daughters love Hello Kitty and Kuromi, I think it is. Something like that.
I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it is I
think it's like Hello Kitty's arch nemesis, something like that.
It's a character from Hello Kitty.
Kuromi, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Got it. Yeah. There we go. In case you tuned in for all things football, we've talked basketball, hockey, Hello Kitty. We've done some gambling. Scampers is saying that he's entertained or amused at least by watching Mariota's helmet stripe that shifted. And that's the stupid stuff that I too find amusing, which is always impressive. In our Fantasy and Frames chat, Aiden sent over like some not inside. It was on Twitter. I mean, it's
way too much credit, right?
Yeah. It's like, wait, hold on. Yeah. Send insider trading knowledge, but
Nate's like, I'm going to walk that back just
yeah. Let's ease up. He put that in the chat right out. And I saw what I was going to allude to is that there was another Twitter like page that I saw or Facebook or whatever. And they had the exact same one. And I wanted to laugh and be like, all right, there can't be like 12 different, Twitter sources all close to the team. It was one, but yeah, Keon Coleman, healthy scratch, does help with the, that he sucks anyway.
Hey,
he went.
We talked about the Shakir trade earlier.
I know that's what I was going to say.
Get the Shakir, get Shakir right now. That's fantastic. Also, I want to bring it real quick. When you brought up the helmet stripe, am I the only person addicted to those YouTube, Instagram videos where they like show the equipment guys like doing the helmet stickers and getting the helmets all ready and put on the face mask? I think they're like the coolest thing ever. I don't know why. I'm like, it's a football nerd I am. I just think those and then they showed the one where they had the Rams where it was a bright yellow helmet and they put the horn on and it spray painted the whole helmet and then pulled the tape off and the yellow was underneath. I was like, that's the coolest freaking shit I've ever seen. I don't know why. If you're a weirdo like me, look up those videos. They're freaking awesome. All the colleges are doing it now for all the different looks every week. Like Illinois had one for yesterday for because we were talking about Illinois, Maryland earlier. For Veterans Day, they had like a specialty stripe on the back that had all the different military things, and then it had a special Illini with the flag on the side of the helmet. I thought it was so cool watching him like put it together and like cut everything and make it look perfect. So that's why I thought it was funny when he's like, oh, Mariota's stripe is off. I'm like, that guy has not been on the videos. He's got to be perfect on the videos.
He is second string is with the Commanders. I think even the equipment guy is banged up this week. All right, Kyle, you're joining us this morning. You get your first Superflex.
Oh, wow.
PPR question that does not have a quarterback, so you don't have to worry about that portion of it. But Sean Tucker, Michelle Tootin, Keaton Mitchell. No Justice Hill this week.
Yeah, Moggs, man, this must be a very deep league, huh?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I'm not exactly dealing with a lot here.
Keaton Mitchell just doesn't get enough snaps for me, so he's already ruled out. Tootin kind of feels like he's touchdown dependent behind ETN there. I'll take Sean Tucker for one last run here. I mean, I know he's backing up Rachaad White, but I think that's probably your best bet here in the Tampa Bay offense there.
There we go. All right, Dave, I'll let you jump into Moggs's part 2 in a Superflex PPR. I think Moggs only plays in like 26 team, 12 flex. No, but that's good. I like these are the ones that I don't enjoy certain questions more than others. I'm gonna put that out there, but I do like some of these where
Sean Tucker for me. The answer is always Sean Tucker.
We know.
Anytime it's any random running backs, I'm always a Sean Tucker guy. We'll just say that for the rest of the show, so you know.
I saw you shaking your head like I made the right call there.
If it's anybody, anybody else, it's Sean Tucker for me. It's always Sean Tucker.
That's why I didn't ask you.
I'm going to stick on the Tucker train. Anyone named Tucker is getting started today. I do like Trey Tucker. I think they're going to bounce back a little bit this week, the Raiders. So yeah, especially with Myers out, he should get some more looks.
2 Tuckers. And
any more Tucker questions? Or
yeah, exactly. Well, not yet. We'll look, but Scamper says good news, Kyle. The Titans will have the number 1 pick for the next 3 years, and then I don't know. Maybe they bring Jeff Fisher back. They go 8. Well, they can't go 8 and 8 anymore.
7 and 9, right?
Now it's 7. No, it'd be 8 and 9.
8 and 9.
Yeah, or 9 and 8. And let's not get carried away. That is unless the Falcons. Yeah, most likely, yeah. Suck enough, and the Rams will have the number 1, which would be. That's the part I always forget about the trade, the implications, and not looking back and going, "Wow, what if?" That'd be interesting. The Rams actually would take a. I would not take one of the quarterbacks from this class myself as a future, but that's also me. So, Mogg says it's a start 3 running back league, and JT's on a bye. Yep. Dude, I mean, you've had JT every other week. You've benefited from his awesomeness enough that
you can afford a loss this week.
Yeah, suck it up, Moggs. But Scampers does. JT, like I said, he don't know why the majority of my life I didn't think about how the helmets got all cleaned and shit every week. You have to think of that stuff. JT, with all the time that you have left over after fantasy hockey, flag football, fantasy basketball, baseball, football, 60 leagues, college, Devy, 3-hour podcast on Sunday mornings, and you sleep 10 hours on Monday. Yeah. When the hell you fit YouTube videos into that schedule?
When I'm sitting in traffic. That's about it. No, I just love helmets. I don't know why. Football helmets are like the coolest thing ever for me. So all of a sudden seeing all those videos, how they do them, I just think they're like so freaking cool. But like I said, I'm a huge football dork, so I think those are awesome. I just love the helmets.
We spend 3 hours of our
bring back helmet stickers though for college football. Those are the best. They don't have pride stickers.
They don't have.
A ton of teams got rid of them. Very few teams still use them. Dude, the price.
Is that because people got butthurt that they didn't have enough stickers and that everybody wants a participation sticker on their helmet?
Yeah.
Oh, dumb.
Yeah. Now Ohio State, and Michigan
so
still do it, right?
Like the start of the season, you remember you look.
Yeah. Ohio State has
Ohio
the
State
Buckeye
does
it.
So Ohio State has the Buckeye, which are super awesome. But they're like one of the few schools that still do it. Like a ton of schools stopped doing it, and it's just. It's annoying to me. I love the helmet stickers. Like when I coached high school football, I was in charge of the helmet stickers every week. Like I would go through the stats, figure them out, hand them out at film every week. I could be in the week right before practice. We'd watch film and I'd hand them all out to everybody. The kids loved it. I just think helmet stickers, pride stickers, or whatever you want to call them, are the coolest thing ever. We need more of those. We need more.
We need an answer to rest of season 4-point passing league, Brock Purdy or Bo Nix. let me look at their rest of
Season.
Oh,
the
come
season.
on, it's not even a
It's
question,
not.
right?
It is a question. I mean,
You got to go Bo Nix. You're not going Purdy.
why? Purdy has just as many top 15 finishes this year as Bo Nix does. Well, I mean, I said that without.
Yeah, but you
looking
got
at Bo
Purdy
Nix,
coming back
Purdy has
from.
played 2 games all year.
I was gonna say.
I mean, he does have
2
4
games all year.
touchdowns, 586 yards in 2 games, but yeah,
It's probably.
sticking with
I
Bo
think
Nix.
long-term Nix is the guy, but man, Purdy, this week I'd rather play Purdy this week than Nix, but without looking fully through the whole schedule. Yeah, I mean, Purdy's just been tough because of the injuries, but
the rest of the season is this. So Nix,
I think they're rushing him.
Purdy?
They're rushing him back, to be honest. Yeah. If
I
I'm
did
them,
too.
Mac Jones has been playing great. So why not just roll with Mac Jones,
Yeah.
Keep it going and play Purdy when he's 100%.
Yeah. Nix has, the Chiefs this week, then there's a bye. The Commanders and the Raiders are okay. Green Bay's not a great matchup. Jacksonville's okay. And then Kansas City for championship week. If it's just a redraft league and you're looking rest of season, I don't think I think I would maybe if Purdy was healthy and he doesn't get banged up this week and looks like he's going to recover and looks like the old Brock Purdy, his matchups, granted, he has a week 14 bye, which kind of does suck. That's something to take into account, guys, isn't it? Week 14 bye?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're...
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you're
because that's a
close,
crucial week, especially if you need that win, Nate. Yeah.
If we're looking too deep into it. Are we all in agreement? Just Nick's rest of season then? Keep it simple?
probably.
so.
I mean, Purdy's just such a up in the air this year. I would go Nix the rest of the way.
I'm right there.
Even though it hasn't been pretty fantasy wise, I think you got to go Nix.
Grin and bear it. So, all right. Ryan says good morning, and good morning back to you. His opponent has Justin Herbert today. Is it a good move for me to play both Keenan Allen and Arondé Gadsden, or should I play RJ Harvey and Jordan Addison in the flex over Keenan Allen? He's playing KC defense today. So, let's start there. So, in typical, without this question necessarily specifically, if your opponent, and Kyle, I'll start with you. If your opponent has a quarterback, are you actively thinking, you know what, if I have players, I'm going to play them because if his quarterback blows up, most likely my players are going to blow up as well? Or do you say, I'm going to put the bad juju on his quarterback and not start my guys, and that way when he sucks, my guys are sucking on the bench as well? Do you think that deep?
No, I actually don't. I look at it like I want to put the best lineup I can possible for my team. I don't care what he's got or she's got. I just want to focus on my team. And if this is the best lineup for me, then I'm going to go with it, because I've got other players too that if Herbert does throw to his guys and not my guys, I've got other players that I can maybe make up ground for that. I'm not worried about somebody else's team. Maybe that's a football mind, right? I don't care what he's doing over there. I'm going to do my thing over here.
But I guess
100% always play the best possible team. When you start getting too cute going, oh, well, he's got this guy, so I'm playing, defensively and playing Keenan Allen. Like, you don't know. Maybe he's throwing a Quinton Johnson to whoever.
Ladd.
Like, you got Ladd, obviously. There's a million options. You got Vidal out of the backfield, so you can't guarantee it's all going to Keenan. Just play the best possible lineup. I mean, you got Harvey, then Dobbins out. That's a no-brainer to me.
Harvey over Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
So that's what the flex sounds like.
I agree. I'm going Harvey over Keenan Allen, and I'm playing Gadsden. And the one thing I will tell you, just like these guys both just said, when you're in a ton of leagues like I am, I don't even look at the matchup at this point. I'm in too many leagues. I don't even look who I'm playing every week. I don't care. I'm looking at my lineup, putting in my guys I think are the max. I'm not worried about if my quarterback's playing against my defense. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. I'm playing what I think is just max. I can play my best one. I don't worry about matchups.
No, I'm right there with you. Harvey over Keenan Allen. You have a Rondé Gadsden. Good news is you can have a horrible week out of your opponent in Justin Herbert and still had a huge week out of a Rondé Gadsden if that's the only person that he targets for the one touchdown and he doesn't do anything else. There you go. Dave, Charlene got delayed. Tell your daughter Karomi is the best. She's like an evil My Melody. Not that you know what that means. Nope. But exactly what I was thinking. That is exactly who it is. So there you go. Now we have
this mug got a lot more attention than I thought. It's got a little here's the other side. There you go. Hello Kitty Cafe.
See, I like a big handle. I like a big handle. That looks like you got 3 prongs here. I don't know. I just like a big old handle there.
It is. I assume it's meant to be Hello Kitty's ears, I think.
Yeah, I think it is.
That makes sense. It does. But yeah. Glitch was telling you to play Addison over Keenan Allen. I think either Addison or RJ. Harvey, of course, has a tough matchup. We know that. But
I would go
volume in that play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely play Addison over Keenan Allen, but I would lean Harvey just for the amount of touches. And again, how good Casey has been. The thing is, if you know Harvey's going to be in, which he has been, Tyler Beatty's been getting some touches, so that is a little concerning, but you got to figure Harvey is a pretty good receiving back. If anything, they drop him off a couple passes. He gets you at least some points there as well.
Yeah. Jay loves helmets as well. He says, do you like the Shutt or the Riddell helmets better? And that's one thing I don't like. There's a bunch of different versions now of helmets. Like when you get really into helmets, like they're like, there's a couple accounts I follow that are super helmet guys, and they'll talk about the Vapor versus this one versus that one. So there are a ton of different ones. I like the Rydell helmets for the most part. I love the shoot ones for college. Like back in the day, they had the coolest face masks. That's why I like the Rydell were like very basic face masks. They didn't have the double bar and like all the different stuff on it like the shoot ones did. So I always was a big shoot guy because of that, because they had so many different varieties of face masks you could do. So in the old school days when you'd build players like in college football or like NFL games, you could like pick the helmet and they would let you do the different face masks depending on the helmet. So I always went with the shoot helmets because I thought the face masks were cooler. So if that answers your question there, just balling with Jay. So yeah, big helmet guy, big fan. Shoot over Rydell for me, just a little bit. And it looks like Nate's brought one over. So let's see what Nate's got here. Pulling his helmets up. That's what I'm trying to find out. I don't know what.
Is it just a design difference, JT, between the two?
Yeah, so it usually has a difference with the where the slits are in the helmet, the back end of the helmet, and then like I said, the face masks are they now almost every team has like kind of every brand has like alternative face masks, but for a long time Rydell had like 3 or 4 face masks. It was like an O lineman, a D lineman, and then like every regular player face mask for shoot had all kinds of different ones. So they've kind of adjusted.
That is nice, Nate.
Chiefs 38.
I can't tell what that one is actually.
It doesn't have. Usually it says right.
It looks like a Rydell, but I can't tell.
Jay, this is for you. We don't know. You need you to fill that in. I'd wear it, but it kind of squishes my head.
That would actually be kind of funny to see.
I put them on my head. The problem is that I can't get them off. Then I get them stuck once they're on. Is the problem for me?
Now is it a?
We should make Nate wear the helmet the rest of the show, right? Like put it on and just talk and wear it the whole rest of the show.
That would be awesome. Hilarious. Now is this a player preference gets to choose which style they want, or is it a team thing?
So I'm not sure how they do it on college. That is phenomenal, Nate. That's absolutely phenomenal. I'm not sure how they do it with college, like whether there's an actual they're signed with a specific helmet provider. I know the NFL, it's a big player thing that the players will push hard for that they get to pick their specific helmet. I know Aaron Rodgers is one that he has wanted to keep his same helmet he's always wore his whole career. I think they phased that helmet out, but he put in for to get I don't even know what you want to call it, but he put in where he would get like a waiver to wear that old helmet, even though that technically that old technology is they've kind of got rid of it because they try to make them better against concussions. So they've changed. The big thing really is the padding inside, how they've changed the padding and how they fit. The padding inside, the way that it attaches your head so it doesn't move as much is way different than when we all grew up and played football. Like the padding was rock hard, didn't adjust your head at all. Now all of it has air in certain spots where you can put it to where it actually fits someone's head better so that it's not moving around on their head. They're vastly superior helmets these days to even 15, 20 years ago. It's wild.
Wasn't there some issue with Antonio Brown ages ago when he was with his short stint with the Raiders?
There's a lot of
helmet issue. I remember.
Yeah, he was another one. He wanted to wear an old one, and they were like, they didn't want him to wear as a wideout because he had a history of concussions, even if Steelers didn't really say it very often, but he did, and so they were like, they didn't want him to wear like an old style helmet, and he was like, no, I want to wear this old helmet. They're like, yeah, you probably shouldn't. And he was like, no, so that did happen. That was should have.
All right, Jonathan, and I think we look at this and we go, it's easy, Mahomes, but I get the question because Flacco is a fantastic matchup. We love the scenario. I'm still never not going to this year specifically. Last year at the same time, the Mahomes start decision was an easier one to make opposite him because their scheme and everything else. This year, a whole different ball game. Mahomes has been that top 5 or 6 quarterback week in and week out. But would anybody start Flacco over Mahomes? Let's put it that way.
I would actually in my rankings. I have him ranked 7 over Mahomes at 8. So I would go Flacco this week. And I believe that this game with the Cincinnati and Pittsburgh could be a shootout, and I want every piece of that. And I do think the Kansas City Denver game is going to be on the lower scoring side, defensive battle there. And if my memory serves me correct, you can answer this, Nate. Patrick Mahomes doesn't really have that good a game's history against the Denver Broncos. Is that accurate?
I would say that in those games, without knowing the defensive health on the other side of the ball, I would say that's a fair statement. He last year in the 2 matchups against Denver, one of which he only played in week 10, he was the QB 11, and then going back to 2023 against Denver, that's as far back as I want to go, he was the QB 7 and the QB 30. So kind of hit and miss. Denver's always tough against everybody. We know that. But, we said without Surtain, with who else did they not have? They have 3 defensive players out, I believe, this week. No Jonah Ellis and Alex Singleton, which those are names that probably only mean something to JT.
I'm worried about Mahomes this week. I'm actually starting Jameis Winston over Mahomes in one league. He's typically against the Broncos, he's not done too great, to be honest. And he's been up and down. That's the trouble with Mahomes. He's not consistent. One game he'll go for 3 touchdowns and 300 yards, and the next he's 150 yards and 2 interceptions. So I'm a bit worried about Mahomes, especially against that defense. I understand there's no Surtain, but it's I don't have him ranked that high this week.
Gotcha. See, and that's the thing, like really. And maybe it's because I pay, I'm watching every game more closely. But even when I do look at the fantasy numbers, he's had 2 weeks on the season where he hasn't been the QB 6 or better overall. He's been the QB, like I said, he's been the QB 6 or better in 7 of 9 weeks so far, which I think that's consistent. But I understand from the outside eyes looking in, you see those matchups where you're like, yeah, $187 a touchdown. But that same game was supported by 66 yards on the ground and a score. So he's doing it with both. When he puts together that game or doesn't, where he doesn't have the rushing yards to support it, that's the concern. And Denver might be that matchup. So I don't have a problem if you start Flacco. If the consensus was that not a bad decision. And like Glitch says, Flacco's great too. They're probably ranked next to each other this week. I think I have them within one spot myself. We have a Superflex PPR question. No tight end premium though, guys. Kyle Pitts, Kate Otten. Man, Moggs, a lot of tricky,
challenging questions, Moggs. I love it.
I do too. And boy, I have Otten actually literally
8 and
one
9
spot
for me.
ahead. I have them 7 and 8. So
I'm on
I have
Otten
Otten
just because
ahead.
I like Otten. So I like Otten, and I don't have a ton of pits. So I just personally, I'm playing Otten in a ton of leagues, especially with all the injuries at wide. I think there's a good chance, weather-wise stuff, he's going to be targeted a lot today. So I'm playing Otten. I like him. I think this is going to be a battle, Bucks Bills. Even though I know it looks like weather could be iffy, I that actually makes me like Otten even a little more. So I like Otten.
Actually, let's talk about that real quick, guys. What games have the weather impact? Because I saw Baltimore, Cleveland. They've got bad weather as well, right? Atlanta, Carolina. Is there how many games are there that have bad weather out there for managers to look at? Do we know?
Yeah, I'm looking through the list of like who's outdoors versus who's indoors today with the weather. You know, Bills Bucks is the big one. You always at this time of year worry a little bit about Giants Packers, though I haven't heard anything about weather being bad in New York. Today, a lot of warm weather games. So a lot of the warm weather teams are at home. Browns, Ravens, like you said, Cleveland is probably another one. That's the big iffy. But to be honest with you, there's not a lot because a lot of the warm weather teams are hosting this week or dome teams are hosting this week. So it is kind of one of those. There are a couple of those East ones. I haven't heard. I haven't seen anything from Pittsburgh yet about anything being bad with the weather there for Cincy. So I think that one should be all right. So I really don't think there's a ton of like games that I'd be real worried about weather. And I will tell you this. We were talking about weather last week with the Bears game. Everyone was real worried about it. Then maybe 30 minutes before game time, or an hour before game time, Andy Behrens was like, I live in Chicago and it's like pretty decent out. And we did get some snow in that game, but the wind wasn't nearly as bad as it was predicted. So I'm starting to watch myself on being real reactive to possible bad weather because I sat Caleb Williams in a ton of leagues last week because I was worried. I was like, oh, it's going to be windy. It might be bad. Well, then he has a huge game, and I'm like kicking myself for not playing him because I was worried about the wind. So
yeah. Well, let's break from the football talk and get into the real crux of the show. Is Dave? It's the bow, not the ears, on the mug.
Oh, it is. It's the bow. You're right. Yeah.
Thank you, Arlene. Hard hitting analysis here.
Hey, somebody's got to help these guys out, right?
Exactly. It's pretty rough. Game face. Good
morning. Yeah. The bow. Okay. All right. I'm with you. Makes sense.
All right. This kind of the Dave. You always say, don't get too cute, and sometimes getting too cute, while on surface level, makes a lot of sense. Cortland Sutton, Tez Johnson. I know if you see the names, you're like Sutton, but my God, is the bad matchup enough to go with the flukiness of Tez?
You're relying on big plays, and I just don't want to take that risk. I'm not saying he's not, he doesn't have that ability to go for a 50-yard bomb, but Sutton can play outside, he can play inside. He's going to get more opportunities. It's him and Franklin are the main guys. So I'm all about opportunities, targets. It's Sutton all day long.
Yeah, this is wild. I was looking at my rankings again. Another back-to-back in my rankings. Sutton's 33, wide receiver 33, and I have Tez just below him at wide receiver 34. So yeah, another good one there, Game Face. I would go with Cortland Sutton, even though I would hold my expectations in check against the Kansas City Chiefs.
So the biggest thing for Sutton is the receptions and yards necessarily have not been there. But if you go back, I'm looking 6 weeks back. If you go 6 weeks back, the last 6 games, targets-wise, have been pretty solid for Sutton. He just hadn't made the catches or yards. 10 targets, 3 targets, 10 targets, 6 targets, 6 targets, 4 targets. So the targets have been solid. You haven't got a lot of good outcome on those, but at least he's still in the mix. I would be a lot more worried about Sutton. Now, tough matchup again, like we said, but I'd be much more worried if he was like 4 targets, like the last like 5 or 6 weeks. So he is getting targets, including 2 10-target games. It just necessarily hasn't turned into catches and yards, but at least the upside's there because he is getting looked at. It's not like he's getting completely ignored in the offense.
Right. Stash question, and Frosty wants to know, is Jaden Daniels worth a stash, or you don't see him coming back this year at all? I don't see him coming back this year. If it's a redraft, he's not worth a stash. If it was keeper or dynasty, then that has different implications.
I agree.
Scampers, yes. Sorry, that helmet. It's an older helmet. It's broken.
Dude, that made my whole morning, by the way, to tell you, like, you with the helmet and putting the earbuds over the helmet. I wish I would have screenshotted that real quick on my computer if I would have been thinking about it.
We can still go back later.
Real quick, because that was phenomenal.
You can go back later, JT, and do that.
You can do, yeah.
Good call. Good call. You're right. I'm going to do that.
In stream, delete, and get rid of forever.
But Nate, you look like a 1960s football player with that.
You know who I look like? I look like
when they draw the cartoons?
Andy Reid whenever he did the punt passing kick.
Remember when they used to draw the cartoons and it looked like they had like a big offensive lineman or defensive lineman, but then the helmet was real small and tight on him?
Yes.
Like that's what it looked. That's what it looked like. It was great. It was pretty fantastic.
I was gifted that from some of the guys who used to come over and watch my daughter's friends that would come watch, and they were big Eagles fans, and yet one of their, I think grandma or relative had that old Chiefs helmet and brought it over. And so Sunday mornings when we would watch the games, I would have it on, and it never really felt great. Always kind of hurt, but is what it is. Scampers does not miss the ear damage from terrible helmet sizing. Nothing worse than the air shot and your ear nearly ripping off. Not all the way, of course, but we suffered a lot, I mean, it was right there, but all right.
I was watching a YouTube clip on you guys seen that Ben Watson chase down of Champ Bailey? It was like if you YouTube it, so Champ Bailey went for it was like a 99-yard pick six off Brady, and Ben Watson chased him down it was one of those crazy chase downs, kind of like
DK Metcalf's,
like DK Metcalf's. And I never thought about it because they were asking Ben Watson about it, and he was saying, well, I was just running as hard as I could, and I couldn't really see anything because the helmet was moving around. I was like, yeah, that's right. If you're going full speed, it must be like going crazy, like the helmet, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. I played in high school, and it kind of is. You get kind of used to it, but it does move on you when you're running fast like that.
I guess my top wideouts, like catching the ball. If you're going full speed and turning, like.
I guess my top speed was never fast enough to move the helmet. Mine always stayed pretty close. All right. Important question. Frosty wants to know PPR, Keenan Allen or Christian Watson. We've talked about Christian Watson a few times this so far in the morning. Kind of more of if you're shooting for the big play splash, but I think Keenan Allen can deliver that as well. I'm leaning Keenan Allen. Are you guys both on Team Keenan?
PPR, you got to go Keenan Allen. He's going to get you the points just in receptions. They're not going to go for 80-yard bombs, but you'll get 8 for 80.
That seems safer than the proverbial hoping for a deep bomb to Christian Watson. But Frosty's already playing Trey McBride. So would you lean Keenan Allen, Watson, or Michael Wilson? I like Michael Wilson in a lot of options, just not over Keenan.
Yeah, and if you already have McBride, you don't want to play both of those in this situation, right? You rather go Keenan Allen with McBride.
Yeah, same here.
For a second, I was like, "Who is Keenan Watson?" I've never heard of that player. So like the love child of Keenan Allen.
Yeah, Watson. Sounds like a Moggs question with some of his deep leagues. He's like, "All right, it's really digging into the depths." But all right, so is Dart still a top 10 quarterback if/when he returns? They may limit his running plays too. Yes, I don't think Jackson Dart limits his running and his scrambles because I don't think he thinks that way. I don't think the concussion is going to really hamper him too much. But top 10, or is that probably right about where you would say 10? Lower end QB1, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say for sure.
No Scatterboo, no Neighbors. I don't know. I mean, yeah, you got Wan'Dale Robinson as his best option. I don't see the Giants really doing that well. I don't think it's top 10.
He just does a lot with his legs, though. I mean, he really does. He does so much. Like, that's really all he does, honestly. Because you're right, Dave. He only throws like maybe 200 yards a game, but the rest he does with his legs. He gets down in the goal line. He can rush it in. So, I mean, that's what keeps he's almost, I don't want to say this, but he is almost Tim Tebow-ish in a way.
Oh, that seems you and your Jackson Dart hate.
I'm not trying to see. No,
here it comes again.
No.
Pause.
Tim Tebow was an excellent fantasy quarterback. An excellent. I mean, he was top 10 every single week. So no, he is an awesome fantasy.
You need to make these disclaimers because people are going to clip. You're going to clip me with that helmet on. They're going to clip you saying he's a Tim Tebow, and no one's going to know that you just mean from a fantasy standpoint only. Get ready for that one. The hate's going to come.
The hate is going to pour in.
Hate. All right. I don't hate this question because it's got a lot of components. Juan, good morning, by the way. He started Debo by accident. Hey, there's still a second half of football, unless he got hurt or something and I missed it, and because I'm not watching the game. But accident, nonetheless, Debo can still have a big second half and help support what's he got? Probably 1 point, 2 points at this point. Either way, needs a wide receiver 2, 3, and a flex spot. Let's start with the wide receiver 2 and 3 between Parker Washington, QJ, Addison, Jacoby Myers, Tez, or Hollywood. We've talked a lot about Parker Washington, Jordan Addison kind of being in the mix there. I think Addison's the one that we've consensus on the majority of the picks earlier. This would probably come down to between Parker Washington and Quentin Johnson, I would guess, for most of us. Is anybody leaning Parker Washington or QJ strongly, or is there another name outside of Addison that I'm missing as the other option?
I'm leaning Johnston. I think he's still the deep guy for Herbert. Yeah, they've been throwing the ball a lot. I'm worried about that O-line, obviously, but QJ has been pretty decent in general. So I think opportunity, it's Johnston.
Are we all waiting just to see what Jacoby Myers does in Jacksonville? Because if it's a PPR format, I mean this should be a smash spot for him. But maybe we're just waiting for that to happen first. Is that what we're doing?
That's what my take is. I know the familiarity with Parker Washington and Trevor's is enough there that I thought even last week, maybe I was like, man, it wouldn't shock me. And JT, you may agree too, is that given the lack of success with catching the ball from the receivers in Jacksonville, it wouldn't shock me for Lawrence to lean heavily on Jacoby Myers as a trusted source of good hands.
QJ is an interesting start just because Jacksonville's defense has been so bad. I mean, punch me in the face, David Mills. I was like, no, I'm not playing him anywhere because, like, why would I play him? And then, of course, he ends up fourth quarter Jameis style, puts up 20-something points and leads them to a win and puts up actually really good fantasy stats. So this secondary is bad for Jacksonville, especially without their best player, which is Travis Hunter, who is their best secondary player on this team. He's gone. QJ, I like it. I just like the upside. I think the Chargers can throw on this team. Yeah. So I like that. Just the inconsistency of T-Law, has me a little nervous. I go QJ first. I go Parker Washington second. I love Jacoby Myers. I just need a week or two more. I need to see the connection with T-Law before I'm trusting it. Now I'm playing him in a lot of leagues because I have to. But if I had this choice, I probably lean QJ first, then Parker second, and Jordan then Addison. If I'm going to play them, I'm going Jordan Addison probably as my third guy. But if you he's playing Henderson and Jacobs, yeah, I'm probably going Addison's my third for the flex guy.
Gotcha. So his team is he's got he already had Travion, so he's already got 30 plus points there. So that's a great start. Jacobs in a good match. It doesn't look like you would do. So I don't think Charbonnet would take the edge over any of the guys we mentioned. Kyle, we talked about Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker on Wednesday night about how it's basically an even 50-50 split. The touchdown upside for Charbonnet's higher than Walker. I don't know if it's enough to step over those guys, especially if this is a PPR league. So Juan, good luck. Hopefully the Debo pick on accident, not a big deal. At the end of the day, you made up for it by having Travion Henderson's, blow up it can offset one bad matchup. As Jay said, the Andy forecast was great. Andy won't be joining us this morning, but it's all right. He, if there's any weather information we need, Dave, how is it in California? Oh, it's nice.
Raining.
What do you know? Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's actually been raining.
Good.
Southern California does not do good with rain. It's like they're shocked every single time. Like, oh my God, it's raining. Everything's flooded.
When I used to live in San Diego, I used to laugh at people coming from the Midwest. I live in San Diego. If it was like, and what people considered rain and real rain, like in the Midwest, when it rains, it's raining. It's like pouring. There would be like a dust of like drizzle, like just, you could, if I wore a hat, I could barely even feel it. But then drive, no one could go anywhere. Everyone was braking on the interstate constantly. I'm like,
no one can drive in the rain here. No one drives.
It's barely raining. Everyone flips out in Southern California if it barely, I mean, just barely rains. It's incredible. So funny. And then I moved from there to New York, where it snowed literally every day in Syracuse, New York. And I'm like, I don't know how anyone in California can make it here, because like literally it was just like nothing but snow and snow plows every second of every day. So fun.
So Frizzle wants to know, morning to you too. Half point PPR. Kyle Monangai, Sean Tucker, Parker Washington, maybe Christian Watson. Oh man. All right. I'm not asking you, JT, because every answer is going to be Sean Tucker. We know. So that's a locked in answer there for you. Dave?
Monangai. Give me Monangai. I mean, he's been working way more into the offense. I like him. He's great north-south runner, catches the ball. Yeah, Monangai is a guy that I'm high on.
Kyle?
Yeah, I think I agree with Dave. It feels like it's close, but yeah, I think I'll go Kyle Monangai in this one.
JT, is it still Sean Tucker?
That one is super, super close for me. But I probably go Monangai slightly over Sean Tucker. But usually it's Sean Tucker, but I probably slightly leaning Monangai.
This is the cutoff right here for JT. Kyle Monangai.
Yeah, this is the cutoff.
Exactly.
Usually if it's any backup running back question, like RB2 behind somebody, who are you playing? I'm almost always playing Sean Tucker. But this one, I do like. I think Monangai is going to end up taking this totally goal line back role for the Bears. He's just Sean better Tucker inside over the 5.
Are you Sean Tucker over Zach Charbonnet?
Oh, see, this is one I shouldn't even be answering because
Come
this
on.
is not a logical fantasy question. It should be Charbonnet. I just don't like Charbonnet at all, and I love Sean Tucker. It should be Charbonnet 100%. Like realistic, if you're doing true analysis, it's Charbonnet 100%. But I like Sean Tucker, and I don't like Charbonnet. But that's just me personally. That's no fantasy analyst at all. That's just me on a personal note.
I just had to push the envelope there a little bit, Nate.
No. Push the envelope. That's good.
I like it.
Here's one of, again, 4 guys that I'll probably have really, really close to each other in full point PPR. You're starting 2. Jacoby Myers, Wan'Dale, Parker Washington, Tez Johnson. Wan'Dale's a one for me for sure, considering the Jameis floor that seems to be, well, if anything, we're all hoping for it. So I'm putting Wan'Dale in. The second one, though, that's a tricky one, because in a full point PPR, I think Jacoby Myers moves up more, like you were saying earlier, Kyle. I still like Parker Washington just because I think he's the true one. So I would go Parker, Washington, and Wan'Dale myself, but we'll go around real quick. Just say your 2 that you choose here. Dave, start with you.
Well, Wan'Dale definitely a 1, just with Jameis, as you mentioned. But I'm going Jacoby Meyer here, just because I think the PPR opportunity is going to be a lot higher there. I don't know what his ceiling is, but I think his floor is safe.
Okay. JT?
I'm Wan'Dale all day, every day. Love Wan'Dale, especially with Jameis. Fantastic matchup. I think he goes off today. I'm taking overs on Wan'Dale everywhere. So Wan'Dale's my 1, Parker's my 2.
And Kyle?
Yeah, I'm definitely the same. Wan'Dale, and it's close with Jacoby Myers and Parker Washington. I'll battle back and forth, but I think I'll go Parker Washington.
Yeah, I'm hoping, I thought last week Parker and Jacoby Myers might cannibalize each other in just a little bit. I hope it doesn't happen this week, but I think the case could be made for both Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers. But Parker Washington has been in full point PPR a top 36 wide receiver in each week, top 20 the last 2, no BTJ. The odd man out for sure is Tez Johnson. So start any of those other 3, and I think you won't hear us complain too much. Will Power, good morning, Will. Rest of season question, guys. Or actually, JT. Dodson or Gray? Gray's on the waiver wire because of week 10 bye. Maybe you could drop Chimere DK or Kyle Monangai for Gray, but this league scores return yards, so DK is extremely valuable. He's wide receiver 22 as a result of that.
Man, that's something I like Gray a lot. He's been getting a ton of tackle. Dodson's has been a every week start for the most part. I love Gray. If I can get Gray, I pick him up. Man, that's a toughie. I at this point in the season, I can't drop a backup running back like Monangai. You got to hold that guy. He could be super valuable. So I don't think there's any way you can drop him. DK would be the guy if I'm going to drop. I could drop him. If your return yards are pretty high, which I have a couple IDP leagues with return yards that are pretty high, and I've actually won leagues because of my return guys, so I can see not wanting to drop him. Oh, it's best ball too. Ooh.
This is the time of year to start.
It would be hard to drop DK, but for me in best ball to have Dotson and Gray, 2 guys that can score a ton of points on defense. If it's not like super low defensive scoring, like a point or less per tackle, like if you get at least a point or more per tackle and assists are at least like 0.5 or more, I'm probably playing the linebackers. But that's just because I know in best ball that linebackers can score me a bunch of points depending on the week. So I'm probably leaning a little more heavy on that side. I probably drop DK, but you can't drop Monangai. You just can't. You can't do it.
Exactly. Yeah, especially in Dynasty right there. And he has a trade that he wants you guys' opinions on. And we'll rank it A, B, C, D, or F. He gave up CeeDee Lamb in the New England defense for Rashee Rice and Javonte in a half-point PPR redraft league. I give it a solid B+. I hope that Javonte stays Javonte. It does. It does.
Depends what you need. I mean, if you need a running back, you're sacrificing a bit on Lamb for Rice. I get it. But if it helps you with RB, then it makes sense.
I guess I always assume that if you're making the trade receiver for receiver and the throw in is a running back to offset the differences because you need it. I would hope that you wouldn't do Lamb for Rice to put Javonte on your bench. That would be a loss for me, but I think in this case it's a win.
Yeah.
Because the depth at running back, we know. I mean, if you can, the separation between Lamb and Rice is maybe 1.5 per week, a couple points on average. But I think Javonte over nothing, pretty garbage is gonna offset that. But Jay says,
I'd be like B plus, like you said. If you're going to play Javonte in your flex, or he's like you traded him because you're like, hey, I have 2 running backs. I need a third guy in case of injury or buys, but I can play Javonte in my flex every week. Or my team's really good. I have JT, but I have no second running back. To me, trading down from Lamb to Rice and adding Javonte makes complete sense.
Like if in a situation where you have someone like Kenneth Walker, who I love Kenneth Walker, but week in and week out, I struggle with wanting to have him as a solid 2. Javonte, I don't like more than Kenneth Walker. I like Kenneth Walker more than Javonte. I just understand that a clear path to solid production is the way. And that's just I think that would be like a smart kind of savvy upgrade where you don't have to internalize and beat yourself up over a situation like that, where it's a split role and you don't see that changing anytime soon. And Javonte's the clear workhorse there. Dustin, what's up to you, man? Pick one of these in it for his flex PPR. Michael Wilson, Dalton Schultz, Keenan Allen. I would go order of Keenan, maybe Schultz and Wilson, but I like Michael Wilson a lot this week. He was one of my plays on our Wednesday show, who I just feel like the situation without Marvin Harrison Jr., he's going to be thrust into a legitimate one role. And Jacoby Brissett's been so solid. I mean, he's been just a consistent supporter. So I think it could be Trey McBride and Michael Wilson both have successful weeks. Is that order correct with you guys as well, or do you put Michael Wilson over Keenan Allen? Kyle?
No, I think I would go Keenan Allen there. I do like Michael Wilson. It's close to me, but I would go Keenan Allen over Michael Wilson. And the defense, offhand, I know that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a good schedule towards the end of the season because I did pick up Tampa Bay for the playoff push in one of my leagues. So that answers that question. I would go Tampa Bay on the defensive side and Keenan Allen over Wilson and Schultz.
JT, final thoughts on that?
I think I agree. I agree with him. I'm going the same.
Nice. Will mentioned Javonte would play over Woody Marks. Rice goes to my flex, or I play him over Waddle. I would definitely put Rice in my flex over him and Waddle. Well, I mean, having Waddle,
That's
Rice,
nice.
and yeah. So, and I know Woody Marks this week, Kyle. You talked about him Wednesday night as having a great matchup against is it your Titans, right?
Yeah.
And last time he exploded. And this week is a good play, but my guess is if, all right, here's the question: Javonte or Woody Marks this week?
Ooh, man, that one's close too. Man, I think I would actually go Javonte over Woody Marks just for snap shares. You know, Javonte's the guy there. Woody Marks does share a little bit with Nick Chubb, so I would take the volume on Javonte Williams.
That makes sense to me too. And
are we doing anything with Joe Mixon? Is he worth even remotely stashing?
No, forget his name.
He's still in the league. He's still around.
Yeah,
he's alive.
Is he? Have you seen him lately?
Dude, it's like they
terrible.
refuse to say exactly what's going on with him, which is always like, to me, is just when there's no talk and they don't really specifically say anything about it. Like that just makes me insanely nervous. Like this is a team who's hiding something. It's more serious. They're like, oh, well, he's got his knees swelling up and he has to get it drained every week. So we just have to wait and see till it goes down. We're getting nothing. They're like, he's just out. He's away from the team and like no timetable of return. No, like, okay, update. No update. No. I mean, at this point, my son has him in like 2 leagues. I'm like, just drop him. Like, if you need the RR spot, just drop him. There's no reason to hold on to him at this point. At this point in the season, with the way the Texans are playing, like, why would you even bring him back, even if he could come back? I don't know if that makes any sense this year at this point.
Yeah. Nope. I'm right there with you. And he did. He thinks that Rice and Lamb are pretty comparable. I would agree. And one of the upgraded running back. No, I think you won. I mean, if you're looking at a win or a loss, you absolutely improved 2 spots. If you look at your week to week improvement over your projected point totals, the difference between Lamb and Rice is negligible, maybe a few, but I think that's an upgrade. And Xavier Worthy really hasn't. I mean, since Rashee Rice came back, it has been Rashee Rice in every scenario. Kansas City is just, they're funneling everything towards him as much as they possibly can. And he's a really, really good receiver. It doesn't help that, being targeted, funneled passes and volume, if you can't do anything with it, but goal line work, etc. I don't have any problem with that. So
I'm a Woody truther. I love Woody. I was pounding the table for Woody going into the draft. I thought he was a top 10 running back in the last class. I was kind of out on a limb on my own on that, but I loved him. I love the receiving profile. But I still love the move because I like Woody, but Woody to me is not an absolute start every week player. He's like matchup dependent, kind of what do you think is going to happen. I like to play him. I like to play him in a flex, but I think adding Javonte absolutely is the move where you can go him or Woody. I love having that flexibility to me.
Yeah, no, totally agree. So if as of right now, there's no more start sit questions in the chat. So for people that may be listening that aren't real familiar with what's going on across the league and some indicators from injury standpoint, we talked about Arizona and Marvin Harrison being out. On the defense, the defensive side, Will Johnson is out. I don't know if that has any effect on any of the pass catchers in that matchup, if that gives him a bump or not. JT, do you think that how's Will Johnson been as far as limiting receivers? Have you paid any attention to that on the IDP side?
He's been really solid this year. I tell you what, he's played really well. He's been a little bit understated. People haven't really talked about him, but he's had a very, very good rookie season. He's been good. Gary coming back from injury. He was kind of their slot corner. He's made his way back. He's looking pretty good. I don't love this Cardinals defense, but they've had times where they've looked really good this year, and I actually think their secondary is pretty solid. Linebacker play is their biggest hurdle. They're not great at linebacker. The ends have been week to week, but the secondary has actually been really solid. And Will Johnson, I think is going to still. When we go back, and everybody gets on Twitter and they do like, oh, let's redraft that draft. Where would this guy have gone? I think he's a guy we're going to look at in 5 years and be like, how the hell did he fall as far as he did in the draft? Because I think he's a really, really good player who just didn't have the measurables and was coming off an injury, hurt him. But he was a guy, if you would have talked the year before, everybody said, hey, he's a top 10 pick, top 15 pick, and the guy falls to the second round. So he's been very good. And I think he's one of those guys who just looks like he's getting better every week when you watch him play.
Gotcha. So Bam Knight has been limited all week. Marty Mercado, Bam's going to play from what it shows, but I do think that gives, like, if you have DeMarcado in any specific spot where it's a nasty flex, maybe it gets a little bit of a bump. In Baltimore, we know Justice Hill's out. We've talked earlier, if there's going to be a secondary and you're really, really struggling, Keaton Mitchell could see a little more of an improved role, but nothing special. In Buffalo, Dalton Kincaid being out, Dawson Knox is a spotted tight end, especially if you're like if you're hurting for Tyler Warren or you lose Juwan Johnson. Outside of Pat Freiermuth, who we talked a lot about, that's a scenario where Dawson Knox. Dave, where do you have I don't know if you have any rankings or not, but decently high on Knox as a whole, or is that just kind of a mess in Buffalo?
No, I think Buffalo offense is really concerning, to be completely honest. So I don't really have him. There's a lot of waiver wire pickups that you could get over him. I'd start Otten over Knox for sure. Definitely no. His floor is 0. That's the thing you gotta see with Knox, is that his floor is potentially 0. Can he find the red zone? Of course. I mean, we know he's a talented tight end receiver, if you will. But floor is 0, too risky.
So Will said he forgot he could drop Cooper for Gray if he wanted to. Maybe that's the better move, or Parker Washington as well. Really likes Gray. So in essence, he's going to pick up Gray at some point. You need to guide him, or at least justify which one of the players he's going to drop. Is it going to be Cooper? Is it going to be Parker Washington? Or, like you said earlier, Chimere DK?
Oh, man, that's a toughie. Edgerrin Cooper's really good linebacker. I would want, if it's redraft Dynasty, I want Cooper over Gray. But redraft this year, right now, I want Gray. I think he's just scoring more points. Man, Parker Washington going forward with everything that's happening in Jags land, it's tough to get rid of him, because I just think he is, especially in best ball. If I remember, this is the best ball league that Will was talking about.
I think so.
Man, it's tough to get rid of Parker Washington. It's easier to replace linebacker than it is to replace wide receiver or running back in best ball. It just is. I would make the move for Gray over Cooper, probably. DK's tough. Again, if you're getting that many return yards and he's one of those top scorers, then I can see definitely keeping him. Because here's the one thing. If you're getting pretty solid return yards, kick punt return yards, and then on top of that, you get a guy that's on the Titans who are giving up a crap load of points, he's going to just keep getting a ton of returns, right? So that has got to make him really, really valuable. So I could see you lean Gray over Cooper if you want to keep DK, depending on how your best ball breaks down stats. I'm in a best ball league that you have to count 3 wide receivers, and it's not a very big bench, and it gets me every time, because every week I'm scoring like a ton with my tight ends and running backs, and they're just they don't count because I need wide receivers.
Yep.
So I can see that if DK fits that spot, I absolutely can see doing that.
Gotcha. All right, guys. Moggs, Xavier Worthy, Jacoby Myers, or Tez Johnson. It is full point PPR if that swings the decision, which, I mean, we talked a little bit about Xavier Worthy recently with the Rashee Rice and his lack of involvement in that offense a little bit. He still has 7 targets over the last 2 weeks with Rashee Rice returning. Just hasn't done much with them. Dave, we'll go Dave, Kyle, then JT. Rank those 3 in your order, or just choose which one.
Jacoby Myers here. I think PPR, his floor is a lot more safe. You made the point about Rashee Rice coming back. It's kind of made Worthy a little bit obsolete. So he's too much dependent on a big long bomb pretty much. Keep in mind the deep balls now are going to former Patriots receiver. What's his name? On the Chiefs.
Tyquan Thornton.
So Thornton's stealing a lot of those deep balls. So yeah, definitely Myers. I think Tez is a bit safe, so I go Myers, Tez, Worthy.
That's exactly how I have it. Myers, Tez, Worthy. With Worthy and Tez, they're kind of both touchdown dependent. Is that fair to say? So I would lean Tez a little bit more just because it's PPR format. So Myers, Tez, Worthy. JT?
I'm exactly the same as you guys.
Yep.
For all the reasons you said.
Yeah. I would like to see Worthy more involved, but at the same time, he's the third option, and everybody and the other 2 are, minimum the second option.
Which is the fourth. I mean, keep in mind, you've obviously got Travis Kelce. So
Kelce's the 2, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I think it's Rice, Kelce, Worthy. And I know that Worthy, again, like I said, he's had 14 targets in the last 2 weeks. That's worthy of being a solid flex option for pure volume base, but he hasn't done anything with that. And this matchup against Denver, I think we all can agree it's not one conducive to a ton of points for sure. Well, thank you.
You've got guys like Juju and like Thornton, what have you, who steal a lot of those catches, and Noah Gray. So honestly, I put Worthy in that category of Noah Gray, Juju, Thornton. That's kind of where he ranks.
He's understandably so. The target and the target share doesn't replicate that. He's in their pecking order. He's the number 2 option overall as far as target goes. It's just you see this production or lack thereof. That's kind of hurting it a little bit, but still, I think we're all in agreement that it is not Xavier Worthy this week. I hope we're wrong, because that if he's productive, that means chances are good for the Kansas City Chiefs. Chances are not good in Chicago that TJ Edwards plays. He's already been ruled out. We know what that has an impact. Whenever he was out earlier in the season, opposing running backs were quite a bit more valuable than they were when TJ Edwards returned. So maybe this would be another spot where the defense, or the running backs on the other team, who's the hell's Chicago playing? Why did I forget that? Oh, they're playing Minnesota.
They're playing the Vikings. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey Nate, I got a trade question for you guys in one of my leagues. So I got a 10-team start 2 QB full IDP league. So we start 20 starters. Full offense, full defense, pretty even scoring. The defense is pretty high up there. I've got 2 guys. One guy's trying to move Derrick Henry. He's looking like he's going to miss the playoffs, trying to move Derrick Henry. And another guy is dangling Chris Olave. I need help at wide receiver. My running backs, I could use help because I got CMC, Jalen Warren, and Woody Marks as kind of my 3 running backs. I offered 2/3 for Derrick Henry, got it turned down. I love the 27 class. I really don't want to move my 27 picks, but I traded a bunch of my 26 picks already. Would you trade a 27 second for Derrick Henry, or would you hold off? And then Olave, what would you trade for Olave? Would you give up a 27 first and maybe a 27 first and maybe like a 26 third for Olave? I hate to trade my first round pick at 27 because I really think that class is going to be good. But would you guys make that move? I'm middle of the pack in this league right now, record wise, but I'm scoring a ton of points. And this league, final 2 playoffs points are points. So I'm in the mix there. I'm probably, unless my team absolutely falls apart, I should make the playoffs. Would you make either of those moves? What do you think those guys are worth offering? Would you hold the 27 picks, or would you put an offer in for either one of those guys?
I like Olave. I don't know if I'd do it for Henry. At some point, he's going to hit the cliff. And, I mean, he's been in the league for 11 years now, maybe. I mean, there's only so much a running back can handle. So, obviously, he's still playing decent. He's not the Derrick Henry of 2-3 years ago. But Olave, I think, has got more potential. With Dynasty, I'm always in win now. So if you got a chance to win now when you're going to make playoffs and Olave can help you, do it, because you don't know what 2027 holds. Maybe we have COVID 2027. Who knows?
Shut your mouth.
I'm just saying, like, don't stress about the future. If you're in, I could potentially win it all now. Win it now.
JT, do you know what this manager wants for Derrick Henry? Because I thought 2/3 is a very fair offer. It seemed I wouldn't go any.
I thought it was a fair offer as well, especially because the way our IDP works, those 3rd round picks they're not valuable. Like just throwing stuff. They're valuable because you're getting like the top end defensive talent there. And if anybody goes defense in the 2nd round, which does happen occasionally when you have some studs, you do get some of those like good 2nd, 3rd round wide receivers that get picked and running backs. They kind of drop to that 2nd round, especially with it being a 10-team league instead of a 12-team league. I thought the 2/3 was even, but this manager typically is I have to win every trade manager.
Oh.
He wants to like clearly win the trade. And so he didn't take the 2/3. So my next best offer would be a 2nd. If I had a 26 second, I would absolutely offer it, but I already traded it last year because I made a huge move. Basically, I traded my 26 second for like 4 draft picks. Like there was another manager was like, hey, I'll trade like my next 4 picks for a 2nd. I was like, I'll take it. And then that's where I went and got like Woody Marks, Swessinger. I like loaded up on a ton of, I got Gadsden with that. Like I loaded up with those picks in like the 2nd, like 3rd, 4th round. So I don't have that 2nd. That 2nd trade, I'm a little on the fence, but I'm trying to decide if I want to offer a 27 second for Henry. I feel like that's a little too much, especially being a 27 second. But I thought the 2/3 was fair. I'm trying to decide if I want to up my offer or just say screw it, I don't want him.
Yeah, because I mean, you're not going to get anything else for Derrick Henry after you trade him. That if you give him that 2nd rounder, that's it. You're holding the bag on Derrick Henry because
he's dying with me on my team. Yeah, there's no way I'm ever moving him. That's where I'm at. Debo, for anyone out there, Debo TD.
Yes.
Just there you go.
I was going to say whoever it was that accidentally started Debo, I was going to make
accidentally scored a touchdown.
Yeah,
it's Juan. It was Juan.
You accidentally got some fantasy points.
Love those happy accidents.
See, Juan. Big 2nd half coming. Look at that, Debo, and that makes me feel good because I think I was recommending Debo at the onset of this show. Didn't look so well, but that's why they play 4 quarters, and I don't do victory laps or victory shame walks before the game's over. Even though still might not have been this smart play. But here's a question that Glitch wants to know. What do we feel about Ricky Pearsall today? So obviously coming back, it's a confluence of both his return and Brock Purdy's return. Glitch taking a wait and see approach this week, which I understand. I can respect that. But if you had to start him, where is that line? Above or below QJ? Well, I will start off with this. Since I have Quentin Johnson as a high-end wide receiver 3, low-end wide receiver 3 this week, I put him below Quentin Johnson because I have Pearsall in my 40s. What happened? 48, 49, somewhere around there. 42. I think that's probably higher than I want to, but I also know without Will Johnson, I think the Cardinals themselves, while they do play a lot of 2 high safeties, and typically that's not great for Ricky Pearsall. Maybe the change if they have to shift over to have a little more assistance without having Will Johnson, that could benefit. Maybe they They play more single high, and Pearsall sees a little more increased targets. But I think to answer your question, I have him below QJ. Is anybody ahead of QJ with Ricky Pearsall? Does anybody feel extremely high on Quentin Johnson?
No, you got to go QJ over Pearsall. I mean, I want to wine and dine him first, see if there's a vibe, see if there's a connection. He can just sit on my bench until I'm ready,
Yeah.
But
don't play hard to get. Yeah, don't play hard to get.
You have to play hard to get, all right? Want him to want me, but look, we got Purdy coming back. We don't know, if he's going to be slinging the ball, if they're going to be running it, so there's too many variables, too many receivers on the Niners. I'm not ready to put Pearsall there. QJ's the deep ball threat for Herbert. He loves sleep, so definitely QJ.
And I don't know if we can really fully trust the San Francisco team, with these injuries. It's highly plausible that Pearsall will be on the snap count as well. I mean, I don't know that, but I wouldn't be shocked if he was limited in the game.
Oh, I wouldn't be shocked by any of that. JT, Ball Glove Blueprint has a question. 3-parter. Let's start. We're going to do reverse order. Let's start with the quarterback position. JJ McCarthy, Jordan Love.
Man, this is a toughie. I feel like it should be Love, but I love the McCarthy upside. And the Bears, we've seen the defense hasn't been spectacular lately. I think at home in the Dome, I think I like JJ. I like JJ this week, though. I feel like the pick should be Love, but my heart is saying I like the upside of JJ. I think if it was me, I'm probably playing JJ.
Better receiving options are with JJ as well. And like I said, in the Dome, this is the time of year that you have to consider weather. So in a Dome, you've got Addison, Jefferson, Naylor, Hawkinson. I mean, those are some good receiving options. Jordan Love's receivers, they're decent, but they're not that quality.
The only reason I might go Love is for how am I going to phrase this? I think that if there's a fun game that we all want to have happen, Jameis Winston's going to chuck the ball 35, 40 times, and he's going to throw for 350 yards and multiple scores. If that's the case, Jordan Love's going to have to do the same. And if Jordan Love has to do the same, then I like that. What I think's probably going to happen is it's going to be much worse. We're all going to be disappointed in Jameis and the Giants, and they're going to end up just running the ball with Josh Jacobs, and Jordan Love's going to have 181 and a touchdown, and JJ McCarthy's going to have a rushing score, 45 yards on the ground, and 250 and 3 in the air, and I'm going to be wrong. So let's go with JJ McCarthy. Let's make it.
Is JJ McCarthy aware that Justin Jefferson is on his team? Someone should send him a text.
He needs to feed him more. He does need to feed him. I usually like when you get young quarterbacks because you figure out they know who their best wideout is, and they're going to probably force feed him even when they shouldn't because they're like, I just got to get him the ball, right? And we haven't seen that at all out of JJ yet. I'm like, dude, start feeding Jefferson. Just that's what made Kirk Cousins great was he didn't care. He just said triple team. I don't care. I'm throwing to Justin Jefferson on every play. And that's why he looked good. Got to get JJ more touches, man. Got to get him more touches for sure.
You're one of the best wideouts in the league, and he's just not getting looks. It's crazy, but
yeah, he's really like Jordan Addison's best friend, right? I mean, 11 targets in the last game. I mean, I don't get it. They look like they built a little chemistry there in the preseason when Addison could play, and it kind of it started from there, and it just kind of looks like McCarthy favors. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but favors Addison a little bit more than Jefferson for whatever reason.
Naylor's getting a lot of looks, surprisingly, I mean, guy that probably no one's starting in fantasy is getting a ton of touchdowns. What's his stats for the year?
Jalen Naylor's?
Yeah.
I would say, I bet he's probably got about a 12% target share, but I would have to look and see exactly. Downtime, lag time. Sorry, everybody. He's had.
I'm trying to help you too.
1, 2. He's had 2 top 30 finishes on the year, fantasy wise. But in terms of targets, he's had no less than 3 targets in any game but 1, and that was at the Chargers when they and he didn't. I don't even know if he really had enough volume. I mean, had nothing, no production whatsoever. So that's a single outlier. Now, yardage wise has been gross. He's only had one game over 37 yards, and that was last week against Baltimore. But
124 and a touchdown. I mean,
oh yeah, no, that's huge.
If you saw those stats, you think that was Justin Jefferson and not Naylor.
Yes, right? Exactly.
Wide receiver 2 for the week, might I add, Jalen Naylor.
Yeah, wide receiver 1 in standard scoring for the standard folks out there.
There you go.
All three of you guys. He's like I said, he's banking on an Addison or Naylor busted coverage touchdown. That's a pretty good bet. I mean, it's the way you're going to get that as far as one of those two really putting up the percentage. So Jay says, I think Pearsall's good to go. Or does they waited until he was full speed, gave him an extra week? That's positive, and that's good to hear because I wasn't certain. You know, we talked earlier, Dave. You said, "Hey, they're rushing Purdy back," which still may be the case. I like the upside of Pearsall more with Purdy, but I like the upside of Pearsall more with the healthy Purdy. Given that knowledge, does anybody change their opinion? I still have him below QJ, but I may move him up a few spots. You guys agree?
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So, all right. I don't know if we have any other questions per se. And if not, we'll just
have we run through injuries yet, Nate? I'm not sure we got a chance to go. You went to go through it a couple times to get deep into it, and then we kept getting questions. So have we gone over the updated yet?
I'm on the Bengals right now.
Okay.
Trey Hendrickson is out. Obviously, we talked about what that means for the impact. On the Denver side of things, J.K. Dobbins is out, of course. So rumor is they may move J.K. Dobbins to the IR. They've talked about that as a situation. And so if that's the case, RJ Harvey obviously moves up even further into our rest of season rankings. But something of note on the defensive side, Alex Singleton, Patrick Surtain, Jonah Ellis, all have been listed out. In Detroit, no Sam Laporta. What's the Sam Laporta? So Kyle, Laporta's out. Does anybody else, is it strictly still just Amon-Ra and Jameson, or is there a sneaky name that we should be paying attention to in a potential high-scoring matchup against the Eagles?
Yeah, for me, I think it's still just Amon-Ra and Jameson. I don't want to get cute with Brock Wright. It's down to the maybe Gibbs and Montgomery get a little involved a little bit more. Montgomery behind Gibbs, maybe you see a little bit more of him rushing it. But yeah, I think I think you nailed it. Just those two really for fantasy.
Nice. And
Tesla.
Well, Will, sorry. Yeah, exactly. And Mogg said Dobbins is on the IR. So maybe I was, as of yesterday when I was writing this down, they must have placed him on the IR late last night, I'm guessing, or late afternoon yesterday. So thanks for the heads up, Will. Appreciate that. But
I would still be with Tesla. I do like Moggs, but do you really feel confident putting him in there because Sam Laporta's out?
No, I don't think that really improved. I think that I would put him in for the same reason with or without Laporta is if I really thought they were going to go three wide and multiple different sets against an Eagles offense that you hope is going to score against Detroit. That's a concern that I have, is that the Eagles, as dominant as we suspect, they've had some letdown weeks. And I think that while we're expecting 50 points between them, this game might be more of a defensive standoff than what the over-under is saying. JT, what is the over-under for this game? Do you know off the top of your head?
I feel like it's like 48.5.
I will look at it real quick. Which game are we talking about?
Eagles and Lions. I was going to say 47.5. So
I'm looking at it
that'd
right
be really
now.
close.
It is 47. You're right at that point. 2.5 Eagles right now. 2.5 favorite. Over-under is 47.
Gotcha. And then Laporta placed on the IR as well. So
yeah, did that come out of nowhere?
That just came out of nowhere. They said he was like questionable yesterday, and it was
maybe miss a week.
Then they talked about like he's leaning towards not playing, and then turned into, oh no, he's going IR. It just happened because he was not IR eligible in any of my leagues, and then once Will had said something about it, I jumped into my league, checked it. Sleeper, he is on IR on Sleeper now, so you can move him. But unless I'm unless it happened late last night and I wasn't paying attention, I didn't see him go on IR yesterday. It could have happened, but I didn't see it. So I just moved him in a couple spots this morning when it just popped up.
Well, it's always Jameson Williams season. If you know, I'm the JMO lover of the dating back. Unfortunately, before it was cool to be a Jameson Williams fan. So not fan, but believer, I guess is the right word. And I have my doubt. Dave is not with us right now. When he comes back, I will come back to this message because he constantly hates on Jameson Williams, and I want to mute him, but I don't because the whole free speech thing, even if it's stupid. Why couldn't they do that with Bucky? Great question. That is the enigma of enigmas, especially if your league doesn't allow you, if you have that little curtailed system where if they're out, you can put them in the IR spot. Most leagues, you have to have the actual physical IR tag next to them to do so. Yes, we've been waiting, and
I am absolutely in favor of out spots being able to go on IR. I fight everyone in my leagues about it. Every league I run, if you're out, you're allowed to go on IR, but I'm in a bunch of leagues that they don't let you, and we get into it every year about that. Real quick, question for you guys. Woody Marks, RJ Harvey, AJ Brown. Does AJ Brown bounce back? Do we trust him? Do we go AJ Brown, or would you guys now go Harvey or Marks? Marks, great matchup. Harvey, obviously a much harder matchup, but pretty much you think he's going to get guaranteed touches. I'm expected to lose in this game against the number one team, but I'm in the fight for the playoffs. Which one of those guys would you start in a flex spot?
Is this the league that your points dictate the final two spots?
This league is 12 team. Points dictate the final spot, the final playoff spot, not the final two, but just the final one.
Which I will say
and I'm going to be right on that, fourth, fifth seed possibly, or the sixth seed with points. So it's going to be right there depending on the last couple of weeks here.
I'm going to chime in. I don't know if I'm a fan of the highest points gets the final spot.
I love it. I was going to say the opposite.
A win is a win, right? It doesn't matter if it's people talking about the Patriots saying, "Oh, they've got an easy schedule." I'm like, yeah, but they're 9-2. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if they're playing the high school football team. They got a win, right? Win is a win. Like last week in my main league, I got the second lowest score, and I won. A win's a win. Doesn't matter, And there was guys who put up 180 points and lost. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of victory is a victory.
That's why I like median scoring. And then you go 1-1 in that league. Here's why I'm in a league. I'm absolutely 100% for the last spot needs to be most points because you get those crazy matchups. I'm in a league right now. I'm in dead last in the league. I am literally 2-8. And I'm third in the league in overall points right now. And it does not have the last spot is points. So I'm completely out of it, even though I'm third in the league in scoring, but I'm dead last because I'm 2-8 overall.
Here's one of the things that goes into it is a lot of people say, I want to keep it consistent like the NFL, right, Dave? You just said a win's a win. But in the NFL tiebreaker decision for the playoff spots, total points actually is a tiebreaker. Now it's the last one. If you go through every,
I was going to say there's rankings of,
but it's still one, right? It's still a decision. The NFL has implemented saying that we think points for and against both sides is a tiebreaker if it comes down to it. So your team making the playoffs in the most accurate.
But that's the same way it is with regular fantasy, right? First and foremost is victories, then it goes points, right? So that's normal fantasy. If I finish playoffs and I'm 7-7 and someone happened to me last year where someone outscored me by 7 points and I missed out on playoffs. I don't know. Yeah. I just think win's a win.
I personally,
or we just make it easy and you go median scoring, so you get the win and median scoring. And you don't have to do the lastest points because you have the median scoring in there, which I love. One of my favorite things to implement in leagues now is the median scoring. I like that. So you go 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2. So if you're the number one team and you played the highest scoring team and you finish second or third in scoring, you still go at least 1-1 in there. And if but you have the two low scoring teams, but you win, hey, at least you got a point. You got one, you're 1-1. I like it. So I'm big fan of median scoring.
Let's get to Legacy's question. Good morning, by the way. Tedero McMillan or Kamani Vidal? Kyle, start with you.
I think I'll go Kamani Vidal in this one. he's gonna get the touches once again this week. I faded him a couple weeks ago on the show with you, Nate. I don't want to do that again. So PPR, he catches the ball as well. Let's go, Kamani Vidal.
Dave?
All about Vidal. In fact, I don't know if Hampton has value coming back. I think when Hampton comes back, if he comes back, I was watching something about he might be 2 or 3 weeks away at best. If he comes back, I think he's splitting that backfield with Vidal. I think Vidal's shown that he's a versatile back. He's a great north-south runner. He's caught a couple of touchdowns. He's good pass catching back. You're not just going to kick that guy to the curb, right?
No, I think you're right. I think at very back, probably 50-50 backfield when he comes back.
Yeah, at the very least, he's taking 10 to 12 touches from Hampton, bare minimum.
I did. I phrased that question a few weeks back. Actually, it's been probably 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks ago, with with Bob Harris and Mike Dempsey over on Sirius XM. Which, if you are listening, you don't listen to Fantasy Sports Radio on Sirius Channel 87, please do so. You'll listen. Those guys are some of the best. Everybody else on there is wonderful as well. And then you will get some appearances by some of the guys here at Fantasy and Frames occasionally jumping on if we get the call. I never turn that down. Anytime Bob's in my text me and asks if I want to come, I don't care what's going on. Birthday parties from a kid, guess what? Won't be there. I'll be late. You're out. You'll have another one next year. There might not be Sirius Radio next year. You never know. Who knows what's going to happen? But most importantly, we talked about that, the Omarion Hampton and Kamani Vidal scenario that could unfold come playoff time if you've been holding. That's a decision I don't want to have to make when it's crucial. I mean, every game's crucial, of course, but yeah, I think that he's earned at least the rights to have more spots. How about this one? Ricky Pearsall or Michael Wilson? That, you know what? Earlier, that was the question of the phrase, like, what's the line of demarcation between where he fits at? And I think this Michael Wilson, like, I want to say Ricky Pearsall easily over Wilson. I just, I trust the situation. I trust the quarterback team, but I don't know if I do, because Jacoby Brissett's been plenty capable of supporting Marvin Harrison and Michael Wilson. Now you have no Marvin Harrison, and so now you have Trey McBride, then Michael Wilson. What do you guys think? JT, I'll let you start. Wilson or Pearsall?
Normally, I would say Pearsall on a day-to-day dynasty basis, but I think this week, no Marvin Harrison and Pearsall trying to make his way back with Purdy. They both could be a little rusty. I think I'm going to go Wilson, and I'm a little shocked that I'm saying that, to be honest with you, because I don't love him as a fantasy player at all. But I think there's a chance he gets in the mix this week. If you're in like a deep league and absolutely desperate, go look and see if Greg Dortch is out there on your waivers. I picked him up in a couple leagues where I'm like last second filling in injured guys, and I'm like, he's like one of the only guys out there. So Dortch is a good guy to possibly. I'd probably go in Wilson this week, but I have to tell you, this might be the only week I'd ever take Wilson over Pearsall, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. The fear that I have of starting Michael Wilson with such confidence this week is a little terrifying. Greg Dortch, great play, as you mentioned, specifically, I think, because they will probably use him much more out of the slot, which has been successful, versus when they move. We talked about this Wednesday night too, Kyle, is moving Michael Wilson out to the edge. Could that hamper his production? I still think the volume alone will put him in the mix where I'm comfortable with that, but I'm looking for Greg Dortch right now to move up my rankings just a little bit, because I realize I probably haven't adjusted his numbers, and I have him pretty low. So I'm going to move him up outside of the wide receiver 70. What do you guys think? How's 51 sound? Does that sound like a good spot?
That sounds like a good landing spot.
There it is. I'll put him right above Chimere DK. Congratulations. You've made the move. That's how I do my rankings, by the way. I just randomly throw someone into a what I assume their projected point total should be, and I think Dortch a 4 for 46 line is right around wide receiver, probably 30 something, but we'll slide him down out of concerns. Will wants to go back to the gray question, JT, one last time. I could drop Marcus Mariota as he still has 3 other quarterbacks in the best ball Superflex league. He has Hurts, Flacco, Penix, and Burrow. Would you drop Marcus Mariota to pick up Gray? He really wants Gray.
He really wants Gray. Make it happen.
I was obsessed with Gray. What's going on?
And I like Gray. I'm like absolutely. So this is the question, because I think Gray is an absolute pickup. I think you got to pick him up. So
Mariota
the question is, who are we dropping?
Drop Mariota right now, then.
Yeah.
If you can drop a guy that's played, if you drop a guy that's playing right now, drop Mariota if you can. I don't know if you can. I don't know how that works in different leagues. I was just going to say, since he's brought up an IDP question, if you have Jonathan Grenard in IDP, he is now officially out. So I had him in a couple leagues where I don't have a lot of other defensive ends, so I had to go pick somebody up. So if you do have Jonathan Grenard for the Vikings, go drop him. Drop him or send him on your bench and put somebody else in if you have to.
There you go. How's this one? Brock Purdy, Justin Herbert. I know it's windy in the Herbert game. I'm still going Herbert. I don't trust Purdy just the first week back, really. Anybody starting Purdy over Herbert? No. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he did. He said he can drop Mariota, and as Glitch says,
boom,
do it. What the heart wants. It is destined to be. You've somehow willed it back into existence. Like you said, a problem that solves itself is totally my style. That is
I love
the way
it.
to do it.
Love it.
Which like a problem as we could move through these games with injuries in Jacksonville. The problem you always have week in and week out is, I don't want to start Brian Thomas. He's been horrible. Someone mentioned earlier, I think it was Glitch, is he the worst second round pick in fantasy this year? And I think the easy answer has been yes. I mean, I could look back and I'm sure we could find somebody else that's equally as bad. AJ Brown hasn't been a wonderful pick, but Brian Thomas, limited practices all week. I don't think he's been ruled out quite yet, but I don't think he's going to play. All signs indicate he's not going to. Isaiah Pacheco is out. Kareem Hunt in against Denver. You guys comfortable with Kareem Hunt? Does Brashard Smith see any more work? Dave?
Well, I thought Brashard Smith was injured this week. Was he not?
He hasn't been ruled out that I saw, but doesn't mean that he couldn't have slipped through the cracks for me because heaven forbid I think Hunt gets some decent work. I think he gets probably 15 touches. He's their red zone guy, so he's also their pass catching back in the red zone too. So I think you have a very safe floor with Kareem Hunt. Don't expect Kareem Hunt numbers from 2018, but he probably gets you 10 to 15 points. That's safe. Do not expect.
Nate, I talked about it on Dynasty 365 on Wednesday. But, man, if you were like me, I was getting some insane offers for Brian Thomas Jr. at the beginning of the year. Man, I missed out on that window. That nice little – I had a couple leagues where guys were offering me like 3 first-rounders. And I was like, I love Brian Thomas Jr. And now I'm like, why did I not make that trade? I'm like, damn, because his value – there were some people that had him like damn near Dynasty wide receiver 1, 2, or 3 at the beginning of the year. I definitely should have sold when that window was high. But I love Brian Thomas Jr. But
I made a mistake myself. I in a league it's a single keeper, just 1 year keeper auction style where I got Rashee Rice for pretty cheap. I mean, keeper cheap as far as going in, and I traded him away to the team for Brian Thomas Jr. and George Pickens. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to win this one really good. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Pickens has been fantastic, but the stretch run here, unfortunately, all these things going one way or the other. Rashee Rice blowing up. George Pickens gets CeeDee Lamb back, and the value's not quite as good there. But I think we all have a BTJ trade scenario in one of our leagues, at least. And Will's is he traded Brian Thomas and Waddle last year for Lamb and a first this year. That first turned into Genty. Well, some of my trades are like mine, where you go, and some are like yours, where you traded away BTJ and Waddle. And don't get me wrong, Waddle's been fantastic, but you get CeeDee Lamb back. I would take Lamb. I would trade BTJ and Waddle for Lamb just straight up.
Straight up.
And you get a first that turned into Genty. So it looks like whoever you traded them to sucked, so they got the first pick. which is helpful. That was savvy move. You're like, you know what? You're going to throw the bombs on, what do they call it? Like the grenades or whatever on other people's teams. So their team sucks. You get a better draft pick. Pretty savvy move.
Yeah. Nicely done.
Let's go through the rest of the games in New York. Jackson Dart's out. We know Darius Slayton's out. Another big, Evan Neal. He's out, offensive lineman. And then on the defensive side is Kayvon Thibodeau is out. Not sure if there's any implications. We talked earlier, guys, that Wan'Dale's the obvious benefactor of that. Theo Johnson is probably next one up. What do you do with the running back scenario? Tyrone Tracy, Devin Singletary, Dave Singletary. He's been fine. Your slander on Devin Singletary is egregious, and that's okay. You know, they what do you think? All right, you have to choose somebody in the backfield this week. Taking Singletary or Tyrone Tracy?
I'm probably going Tracy, but not by much. I'm avoiding that backfield. Giants and the Cardinals backfield and Washington is one that I want no part of whatsoever. I just don't think they're going to be doing that good. You know, you want running backs on good teams. It's as simple as that. You know, I've said it before. Saquon Barkley is the perfect example there. You know, he struggled in New York, goes to Philly, does great, right? Talented running back. Mm-hmm. I just think they're going to be trailing, you know, even with Jameis there, and I don't think they're going to get much opportunity to run the ball too much. So both those guys, I think, get maybe 10 touches, single carry and Tracy. But, you know, I don't think it amounts to much.
It's all right. It's catching on. It's still wrong. It's always Devin Singletary, but it is what it is.
That's how you spell it, with a C-A-R-R-Y here.
Yeah, well, that carry sometimes goes for enough yards to outscore Tyrone Tracy, as he has. And I don't know if he's actually outscored him each week of the last 2 or 3, but it feels like he has, because he gets an extra 5 fantasy points for my adoration. It's my own internal scoring that I do for my players. That's how I do my rankings. If I like the person, like Jameson Williams has been the wide receiver 1 overall for the last 2 years. Might not show up in the stats or on your particular league, but it's okay. How about this one? PPR epic fail. Dalton Schultz, Harold Fannin, Theo Johnson. Let's rank them in order. JT, who's first for you? Or I guess, who do you start? We don't really have to rank him. He didn't care.
Ooh, man, it's a toughie. I talked all kinds of smack about Schultz last week, not because I didn't like him, but I was just like, Davis Mills. Well, then that just egg right on my face. It's Davis Mills and Schultz all over the place. We talked about it just a little bit earlier, but I kind of want to play Theo Johnson just because I want a little bit of the Jameis excitement. You know, I just want to I want a little piece of it. So I kind of want to play Theo Johnson. I want to play Theo. I think Schultz is probably the play just from what he's done lately. Is probably Schultz. I do like Fannin a lot. I'm just always nervous about Cleveland. Just am. I'm nervous what's going to happen. If they're going to do anything, if the offense is ever going to move the ball. I do like him a lot. I'm playing him in some spots, so don't take it as I'm not. But I'm probably saying Schultz is the guy. Theo is who I really want to play, just for excitement purposes.
Dave?
The answer is Schultz. I mean, he's the guy they use in the middle of the field in the red zone. I mean, as far as tight ends, you know, he's a pretty low-end tight end one, but he's a lot safer. Love Theo Johnson, but he's just so touchdown dependent. They only use him in the red zone.
And Kyle?
Yeah, I was just looking at last week, Dalton Schultz, man, 11 targets. Man, you got to go back to the well on this one, don't you? So, yeah, I would go, Schultz, then Theo, then Fannin.
Yeah, I probably have that same order. And as Will said, he was banged up. He came into the week on the injury report as a result of probably not having to catch 11 or being targeted 11 times, didn't know what to do with it, overworked. But I still think the opportunities there. Green Bay's not a terrible matchup for tight ends as well. They're, you know, top 10 in terms of, or bottom 10, however you want to look at that. And I think Theo Johnson, exactly like JT said, if you can afford to not care as much and you want the pure, you know, rush, you want to chase that dragon, Theo Johnson's the way to go, because it could be so much fun. But like Dave said, red zone. I think his involvement could be more without, when you lose Darius Slayton, and who knows how they're going to redirect some of the allocated targets. The order is probably still Schultz. All right, Andrew William. Andrew, good morning. PPR league, guys. He has Tez Johnson, Rashad White, Trey McBride. For quarterback, do I go with Mayfield against the Buffalo defense or Brissett against the Niners while missing Marvin Harrison and Zay Jones? So I guess really he has McBride, and he could start and stack it with Jacoby Brissett. Or Mayfield when he has Tez and Rashad. Kyle, I'll start with you. Are you leaning, I guess, rank them without contingent upon in the rest of his players? Who cares? Baker or Jacoby Brissett?
I'm going to go Baker Mayfield.
Okay. So I think that's the way to answer that, regardless of who you have on your team, because I think you still want the most points. And if you're starting Tez and Rashad and the Bucs have a great game, you're going to be fine anyway. Is anybody leaning Brissett just because of they don't want to have too many pieces of the Tampa Bay offense at once? JT?
I don't mind. Even I know Buffalo's defense is like weather all that. I don't mind stacking everybody. I'm an all or nothing. I'm that guy that's like always double down on 11. Like I don't care what the dealer's holding. I'm double downing on 11 every freaking time. So I love the stacks. If I could get a stack, I tend to push towards the stack. If I can double up, I don't mind. Playing 3-4 guys on one offense just in case. So I probably lean into the stack. You can't play Zay Jones. I don't think. Lost the championship for Zay Jones.
They're mid. That's what he says. He wants to start.
He's missing. Yeah, I know. I still think. Yeah. Yeah, I think you go Mayfield. I think you got to go him. I like Brissett. All right. I'm playing him in some spots, but I think starting Brissett over other guys, I think is kind of, it's like I think we're overthinking it just a hair. I like him. I'll play him, but I'm playing him maybe over Trevor Lawrence this week, but I'm not playing him over Baker. I think you got to play Baker.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Baker's been fading a little bit recently.
He has been, but I still think you got to keep going back to that. Personally, I like. Definitely without Marvin Harrison Jr., I definitely am much lower on Brissett without him.
I don't think it's crazy to start Brissett over Baker, but I don't know. It depends what you need. I think the upside is there with Brissett. I think you're going to get safe numbers with Baker.
Yeah, I don't know if I could trust that, though. He's got one guy to really throw to, and that's McBride. The over-under for McBride is probably 15 targets, right?
Yeah.
Right?
That's my concern. The offense as a whole could just absolutely tank. Because we said it earlier, Dave. You don't trust the backfield, and that's a given on a bad team, and the mix. And then you take away Marvin Harrison, who was the only person that I trusted to keep that offense really moving outside of Trey McBride. Brissett's been fun for fantasy, but I don't think I would take the fun over safety with Baker. But I can understand. What?
Ollie Gordon touchdown for the Dolphins. I would love to see Tua throw a touchdown pass in the air, but
A-Chain's not injured, is he?
You shut your mouth! Don't you dare say
he's
those
not hurt.
words.
They just put Ollie Gordon in there to
Ollie Gordon.
Basically, only people like me in 14, 16 team leagues where I'm just absolutely dying with injuries and I'm starting Ollie Gordon in an RB2 spot are the only people happy about that.
Gosh,
the old vulture.
So A-Chain at least has 84 all-purpose yards and 4 catches. So, all right, at least he's productive in a vulture situation. In that game, by the way, Chris Rodriguez has retained taken the reins in that backfield again. 14 carries, 79 yards, and
What are you doing with Bill? Is he droppable?
I don't know.
If you need a spot,
people were like pushing first-round picks for him at the beginning of the year. I was losing my mind. Like people were offering me, and they wanted like James Cook and something else. And I'm like, are we living in the same world? Like this is crazy. I liked him okay. I didn't believe the hype. I didn't jump into it, but man, people were just like, they were pushing Bill big time there for about 2-3 weeks.
I'm one of them, JT. I fell head over heels for him in the I fell for it, man. I was all over that. I don't know.
What's crazy is even through like 6 weeks, all the there's tape bros and stat bros, and all the stat bros really were like, he has the highest EPA per 10, all these statistics that backed up that he should be a good running back. It made sense to continue the hype, and then the Commanders coaching staff saying, yeah, we're gonna just not continue to give the ball to him, and the offense looking worse, obviously without Jaden Daniels, etc. Now it's who is in form now? Did I see? I know Mariota's out, but
is he out, or is he?
No, he's back.
Oh, he came back in.
Yeah. Who did they say? I thought someone was coming in. I thought that was already a done deal. So I'm not watching the game, so I apologize for that. But let's get to this question.
I've got it popped up next to me. I'll tell you as soon as I see it here.
Okay, so in PPR, without Keon Coleman, without Dalton Kincaid, is Khalil Shakir over Cortland Sutton for you? And honestly, I say yeah.
I think I'm
JT
with you
says
too.
Yeah, Kyle says yeah. Dave, are you pushing against it?
I'm sticking with Sutton there. I mean, yeah, we talked about it before. It's him and Franklin. They're the receiving options, and the Bills not look great. And there's no clear number one in Buffalo. Yeah, sometimes it's Coleman. I don't know.
Coleman's out.
Okay, I just can't trust.
Yeah,
the
no
Bills
Coleman,
offense.
no Kincaid. I'm pushing Shakir. He's got to throw to somebody, right? Like they can't run the ball every play. Shakir to me just feels like if you're going to get a ton of targets, this is the week that he's going to see a ton of targets. And really, if you're going to be successful against Tampa, pretty much the underneath routes are what has worked against them. Their safeties are pretty good. They've done pretty well against anything deep. So I think Shakir, the guy running underneath routes, I think he's the guy. And I don't hate a Dawson Knox touchdown today. I really don't. I think there's a chance he gets in with the injuries and everything else. So I think that's a nice little. If you just want to sprinkle a little bit on there, I think that's a decent play.
That was on Wednesday. Knox and my play was Pat Fryermuth.
Mariota's back there, by the way, for everybody. He did get hurt, but he's back in the game. Looks like they worked on him. The defense was on the field. He's back in now. The Washington has the ball.
Thank you, sir. Mike has a question. Good morning, Mike. Parker Washington, Tez Johnson, Trey Tucker, Christian Watson. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. That it's. You just know going in that you're going to see a constant, reshuffling of names in different scenarios. And I feel like there's a lot of teams with the amount of teams that have these 4 players to have to choose from is staggering. But then again, there's also, millions of fantasy teams out there. It's not that shocking, but I do want to say consistent, because I feel like I forget who I recommend each time, and I think we've just hedged our bets and we just picked 2 different ones.
Yeah, Nate's just like every time he's like, I'm just going to switch which guy I'm just suggesting to people so that we're at least 50% right, so we don't get 100% hate from everyone. He's
exactly.
like, dude, I do feel like this. I feel like we've answered this question 6 times, and now legit it hasn't been exactly the same, but like every one of these guys has been in 75% of the start sit questions so far today. We've had at least one of these guys in the scenario.
That's wild, yeah.
So
Parker and Trey Tucker, right?
I think that's the answer. And yet I feel like we've pushed up Tez Johnson a little bit in a couple questions, and Christian Watson's always if you want the, big splash play, but I am right there. We want Trey Tucker against Dallas on Monday night, twofold. That's fun. And Parker Washington, despite the fact that Jacoby Myers has gotten a little more, pushing up of his value this week in a PPR. This is PPR, but all right, Dave, you're the last one. So I think we're all saying Trey and Parker. Do you sub Tez and Watson for either one of those two?
I'm going Tucker and Johnson. I want the upside of Johnson. So I'm going for a nice floor with Trey Tucker, but I want a big splash play from Tez Johnson. Knowing that his floor could be 0, I'm willing to take that risk.
Yep. Understandably so. So good. We are hedging our bets a little bit in there. Superflex. Michael Penix, Trevor Lawrence. Kyle, start with you.
Oh, man. I think I would go Trevor Lawrence over Michael Penix. Hey, if we're going to go Parker Washington all morning long, we got to go Trevor Lawrence here, right?
That is true. I have to admit. And Carolina's been shockingly like that game, Carolina and Atlanta. I don't think I want to watch that game. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be low scoring
10-6
and gross. Yeah, like
It's
Atlanta should.
It's going to be disgusting. It's going to be almost like you're like in the stands going, should I buy 1 or 2 beers when I go back to the concession?
Always 2.
Definitely 2.
Always
Like,
two.
definitely going to be have to hammer ones to make
But
that
then
game.
again, that's also the game that you don't care if you get up and go get a beer. Like if it's a good game, you're like, well, I'm not leaving my seat to go get a beer. That game, it's like, yeah,
that's the game I'm sitting at
pour
with my
your
phone,
beer out. You're like,
watching
yeah, I
Red
gotta
Zone
go
the whole time.
Right, exactly.
And everybody's
Like,
like, you're at the game. What are you doing? I'm watching Red Zone on my phone the whole time.
Watching
the
that
game's
shit
so
out
awful.
there. That's terrible to say, but yeah, I think we're all in T-Law there. Eddie's Baker or Mahomes. So we're moving down the list. I still go
Huge
Mahomes,
run by
but I know
Mariota. It must be like a 50-yard run or something. Impressive.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Dave?
he just broke off a big run.
Earlier you took somebody over Mahomes. Flacco, I think it was.
Yep.
Would you take Baker Mayfield over Mahomes?
No. I'm a little bit worried about Baker Mayfield. I'm not going to lie. I mean, now his receiving options is Tez Johnson as his number 1. Sterling Shepard. I don't know. He's just not. He's been serviceable, but he's not been elite. The better option here is Mahomes.
Don't forget about like Buka.
Of course, yeah. I know Ibuka's good, but still, he's just not been throwing the rock. I mean, I'd love to see the stats with Mike Evans versus no Mike Evans, because with Mike Evans, he warrants double coverage, which opened up Ibuka. Ibuka's still been great without him. Don't get me wrong, but he's getting double covered now rather than getting the one-on-ones.
Let's nail a couple of these last final questions before we get out of here. Try and PPR, Flex, Kyle, Calvin Ridley, Bam Knight, Trey Tucker, or Rhonda Gadsden, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. Oh, man, that's between Tucker and Gadsden for me. I'll go Gadsden here. I will. I like him down in the goal line. I usually don't like to flex out another tight end, but I have done it because I have McBride and Gaston in the league, and I'm not afraid to do it in that kind of situation. And I'll back it up here. I'll go Gaston here over these guys.
The answer is never Bam Knight, just so everyone knows. It's never Bam Knight.
I was like, we're gonna go a whole show without Dave ripping Bam Knight. I was like, no, we didn't. We almost made the finish line.
It's never Bam Knight. If Trent Richardson just signed a contract with someone, I'm picking him over Bam Knight. Okay.
Nice. We almost had Bam Knight.
That one hurts.
This week.
I feel like that was a shot at me for me talking about my PTSD of having to watch Trent Richardson juke in a gigantic hole every week for a couple years in Indianapolis.
He was my first ever pick in fantasy. It was 2013. I picked him first. It was like, I don't know, 10th in the first round. I was so excited. But yeah.
I think by you calling what he did a juke is a slander to all other running backs that actually have juke moves.
All jukes? I know.
The shimmy shake, like what is the...
Dude, it was like a little... It's like anyone... If you mention it to any Colts fan that was around during the Trent Richardson years, every single Colts fan knows exactly what you mean. They literally know exactly what you mean. Gigantic hole. He gets in the hole instead of just putting his head down and running. He literally like does this little half shoot. Like, what are you doing? Just go through the hole. It's a huge.
All right, so hold on real quick.
I mean,
Brian Thomas is active.
It's like I can see it in my head right now. It's so bad.
What is going
on
here?
I've been.
hold on one second,
traumatized by
JP.
this.
This is
I thought-
Brian Thomas Jr. is
I thought
active
he was
now.
out. Is he?
Who
not?
said he was out? Show yourself.
Eddie.
I saw him out on like a couple of my fantasy leagues. I was literally just
I
looking
saw
at
that
my
too.
lineups.
I saw that too.
All right,
somewhere.
we got to know this for sure. Will,
You're
playing with
Yeah,
our
he's
emotions
out.
here,
I've got-
Will.
Thomas is inactive for Sunday's game.
I got him out too. Yeah, he's ruled out.
Yeah.
Well,
Will's just messing with our emotions, man. This is crazy because he just
leave it up
went
to
out
us.
on
We
a
got it
bunch of my
covered.
I don't know
leagues
if you
out
can
of
see it
the
or not. I don't know if you can see it or not, but yeah, he is ruled out.
Unbelievable, Will. I'm not gonna say you're banned because I would obviously never do that to you. You're a boy, but you did. Unless I wouldn't that be savage if he knows that person he's playing happens to be in the chat and has BTJ out of their lineup and he did it, and
He's like, get him back in, get him back in there.
We have an hour until kickoff, so they'd hopefully figure it out. But all right, I've got, I think, one more question, two more questions real quick. You know what, Will? We're not answering your question of Michael Wilson or Trey Tucker. Nope, you don't get it. That's what you get, sucker. I'm going to show you. But Andrew, we will answer your question. Is PPR league with 1 point per completion, highest ceiling potential, Stafford or Flacco?
It's Andrew. It's half a point of completion. That's my league. He's in my league.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, it's half a
Way
point.
To correct him.
Yeah, look at the league rules, man. Come on,
know your rules.
I was gonna say that's a high score, even half point per completion.
Our QBs can go off for like 60 points, but yeah.
I think I would, and this I think I would go. I've said it before. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to go Joe Flacco in this. He should throw the ball a lot, get a lot of completions in that. Maybe the Rams kind of run the ball a little bit more in their matchup. So, yeah, I'll go Joe Flacco in this.
My apologies.
Inactive. I read the tweets too fast.
Not accepted. Don't accept your apology. But we do, actually. But, all right. Tedero McMillan. Did we do this earlier? Legacy maybe didn't hear us. I think we said
maybe he missed it. We did it. I just put in the chat. I did say Vidal. I think we all said Vidal earlier.
Yep.
Yeah,
Vidal. Oh, thank you. And then Glitch supports us, and he says Stafford. So Stafford or Flacco. It's tricky. I could see the upside for Flacco there, but no, you don't need to say you're bad. I'm glad that you got the answer. That's what we're looking for. And thank you for listening. Thank everybody for listening. Thank everybody for being in the chat. Again, for the probably 6th, 7th week in a row, we don't have to resort to regularly scheduled programming where we have to read off and thing. We didn't get through the injury list, and that's okay because Will is going to let you know. Just hit up Will Power over on Twitter. He'll give you all the bad information you could possibly need. He's tuned in. He's got his finger on the pulse, as they say.
Get BTJ out of your lineups, people. Just get BTJ out. Get him out of your lineups.
Exactly. Unless it's a different BTJ. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's see, we didn't clarify. We just used the thing. So, but that will get us out of here. It's 11:11. Go set everybody's lineups. JT, Kyle, thank you for joining us this morning, Kyle. Hopefully you can come back other Sundays if you're free and can do so. Dave, as always, great to see you. For everybody else, we will see you next week.